At Egmont Empire, Adelaide was looking at the window, telling herself that surprisingly, no lingering feelings remain in her and it was really easy. Suddenly, her husband slammed the door, opening it. It was Karl Ulrich Egmont. He asked where is she going, but she remained silent, causing her husband to shout at her, repeating the question, where is she going? The empress only stared at him and remained speechless, but Ulrich grabbed her shoulder, asking if she's going to that guy. He became pale, repeating if she's really going to Lionel Valdir. The empress thought that up until the end, he still failed to recognize the most important thing. She brushed his hand, asking if it's important to know who she will be going to, because for her, that's not important. What's important to her is that she can no longer tolerate him. The emperor told her where else would his empress be, if not by his side. This caused her to laugh out loud. She sarcastically asked, "Empress?" after trying to dethrone her. Adelaide claimed that it was actually for the better, because even if the dethronement didn't happen, she will still end up telling him this someday. She's giving up her seat next to him. She will throw away her position as empress. The story then changed into the past, where Adelaide was riding a carriage going to the Egmont Empire. Adelaide Gotrov is the best striker who's capable of single-handedly removing Tower's core. She is also the princess of the Gotrov Empire, to be specific. She is the crown princess. She remembered her conversation with her mother before traveling to Egmont Empire. The empress, her mother, told her that she received a marriage proposal from the Egmont emperor telling her to go and become the empress of Egmont. Adelaide told her that she looks like she's anxious to tolerate her presence there, but her mother told her that she thought she will joyfully accept it. She became silent while the empress reminded her not to regret that day every time she struggled. That day, if she only left her little brother Lucio to die, she would have been able to become Gotrav's emperor. Her mother told that she knew that she was loyal to her brother, but what about her future children or her close aides? Does she think they share the same mindset as her? She might also change her mind someday. Her existence to the Gotrov Empire is just like a knife on the jaw. For the sake of the empire and her little brother, the empress told her to leave. The scene went back to present, where Adelaide was inside the carriage. She took the box given to her and looked at the Egmont's emperor, Karl Ulrich Egmont, the current emperor and also her fiancé. She noticed a folded paper and read the message stating the emperor's mistress, Diana Poitier, aged 29 years old. She looked at the window, telling herself that the place is very far and the land where she will have no one to trust. She will become that empress of that empire. The scene changed to the emperor holding a portrait of Princess Adelaide. He thought that when someone sends their prospective groom their portrait, they usually draw themselves sitting calmly with a gentle smile on their face. It was different with Adelaide. She sent him a message that she will come as an empress, not a woman. He apologized because it would be good for both of them if she comes as ordinary woman. A month later, Lionel Valdir, the second son of Valdir family and the Minister of Defense of the Egmont Empire and the commander of the guards, was waiting for Princess Adelaide to arrive, as he will serve as her escort. He reached the door of the carriage and introduced himself as her escort. Lionel was stunned to see her face, specifically when he saw her golden eyes. He can't take his eyes off her. He apologized for his rudeness as he realized he was staring at her for a while and reached his hand to her. Lionel paused as he smelled Adelaide's hair when she walked past him, while he noticed her clothes, which should be a dress a woman typically wear. She thanked him and introduced herself and looked at guards riding horses and told him that she have been riding from the boat to carriage for 2 months and it wasn't an easy journey. She asked if they happened to have an extra horse because she wished to ride the horse. Lionel then understood why she's wearing a riding clothes, but one guard was worried that the war horses are fierce and dangerous. She told him not to worry about her, the princess of Gotrov, and started riding the horse and enjoying the travel. Lionel was amazed of her excellent skill riding a horse. He asked if her frustration subsided a bit, while the princess answered yes. She claimed that she wanted to ride a little more, but it would be difficult to arrive at the palace in that state. Well, he agreed and pleaded her to get into the carriage. Adelaide thanked him and hoped they can ride together again next time. Well, he was amazed that such a unique person will become the Empress of Egmont. A maid told the Emperor that the princess has requested his help. The scene changed to the Emperor's mistress choosing a crown when the Grand Duchess, Elizabeth Ulrich, the Emperor's half-sister, came inside the room. The mistress greeted her asking the reason for coming. Elizabeth asked what are those things, asking if it's not necessary to have anyone's permission before getting anything from the royal treasury. The mistress told her that she was just choosing an appropriate crown for the Empress, but the Grand Duchess disagreed with her, claiming that she is the only noble lady who can select the crown for the Empress. She told her that she's concerned that if the Empire of Gotrov were to know about this, diplomatic protests might come flying. Elizabeth told her that rather than a crown chosen by a mere mistress, wouldn't the crown chosen by his sister better? The mistress just laughed at her, reminding that she is the only divorced woman in the empire and she's not sure she's qualified. This made Elizabeth furious, telling how impudent she is. Suddenly, the emperor arrived, asking what are they doing. The mistress smiled that he came just in time and greeted him with her sheep-like face. He asked what are those, while the Grand Duchess asked if he's looking for his mistress rather than managing the state affairs. She told him that he won't believe her, but she haven't do anything while the mistress was acting, showing her face in tears. The emperor asked if it's that the case, why is she like that? But the mistress told him that her grace hasn't done anything wrong, her grace was just not satisfied with the preparations. Elizabeth told him that she somehow become a mean sister-in-law who picks on an innocent person again. She told him that she seems like she have no right to say anything even though his cherished mistress is trying to show off her authority in pretense of preparing the wedding ceremony. The emperor told her that they have no suitable royal lady who can host the wedding ceremony and she should be grateful that his mistress is volunteering in her stead. His sister asked if he is blaming her for her divorce. He becomes speechless, then warned her that he is the one who put Diana in charge of the wedding ceremony's preparations. He stated that she have no say about this and just follows his mistress' decisions. But his sister told him that she doesn't want to see this sight ever again and will back to her fief as soon as the ceremony is over. The emperor went off the room while the mistress glared at Elizabeth, that caused her a shock. She was the one left inside the room, thinking that women manipulate the emperor this much and don't know if the new empress will be able to hang on. Diana was talking with her brother when he asked if she hang on because the empress is the princess of Gotrov. He told him that he knew that the emperor can't live without her, but even if he can, he still won't grant her that title of empress. There's no way the empress would let her off. She has to let people know her position in the palace, telling her that he heard rumors say that the empress is exceptionally beautiful. He told her that she needs to get pregnant before his marriage, but Diana shouted at him, asking if he thinks that's easy. Diana revealed that the empress won't be granted anything by the emperor and explained that the emperor has severe hatred for the empress. He asked what is she talking about, while she answered that the reason the emperor can't make her an empress is because he loves her. The man told her that she don't know men. Love can grow cold, and his love can turn cold someday. Diana agreed that life for the living can become cold, however, love for the dead cannot grow cold because the emperor sees his mother on her. The emperor's mother passed away prematurely due to the former empress prosecution. That's why the word empress itself is something he hates. Rather than the empress who only has her status, it's better to be a mistress who has both love and power in her hands. The day after Adelaide arrived at the royal palace, people lined up to welcome her. They wanted to leave a good impression on the person who would soon become their empress. However, after the parade of greetings came to an end, there were still no news from the emperor. She smirked after noticing that he won't come and ordered them to send back if anyone visited. After taking a bath, she saw a woman standing beside the window, thinking, who is that person? That is her bedchamber, and it's common courtesy for all visitors to be guided to the drawing room to wait there. The woman greeted her and introduced herself as Diana Poitier. The empress then realized who is she and remembered that she is the emperor's mistress. She ignored her and ordered the maid to dry her hair. Diana smiled, thinking that her face isn't the emperor's type. She told her to let her dry her hair. Diana answered she's not a maid, while Adelaide asked why is she saying she will dry her hair. If she's not a maid, why is she on her bedchamber without her permission? Diana apologized and told her that she wanted to inform her something, while Adelaide asked what it is. Diana answered that she want to inform her about the emperor's preference ls. Adelaide was shocked with her reason. Diana continued telling her that the emperor likes wavy hair and suggested trying to roll her hair to make it wavy. She also added that she was pale and suggested applying some makeup to make her cheeks more rosy. Adelaide became furious and pulled Diana's hair, thinking how dare she talk to her like that, and repeat is she is telling her about preferences. She released her and ordered the maid to bring her a glass of wine and asked Diana why is she giving that kind of advice to her. Adelaide told her that she can go tell the emperor about her preferences, also telling her that she like a man who knows how to speak about private issues in person. She also added that not once in her life that she thought of changing to suit another person's preferences, and told Diana to keep those preferences to herself. Adelaide told her to go now, while Diana apologized for her mistake and told her that she instructed them to make no mistakes whilst obliging her. The empress thought that those statements was what the house owner says to their visitors, and to be greeted by the emperor's mistress as soon as she arrived is ridiculous. At the day of the wedding, a maid brought the platinum crown to Adelaide. She wore it and found it dull, so she ordered the maid to bring a golden crown instead. She still have some time before the ceremony, so she would like to change the crown. Diana went to the emperor's room crying and trembling, telling him that she's sorry. When the emperor looked at her, someone small and fragile comes to his mind, the one who made him want to protect her from the empress. Whenever the word empress appears, it makes him sick. Diana told him that the empress thought she was just one of the maids, while Diana thought that the emperor's biological mother was also the empress maid, and he won't be able to help but feel triggered by this. He become angry, asking if really nothing happened on the day she went to greet the empress. She cried in front of him, telling him that she's fine just being by his side, and started acting that she can't breathe and passed out. The emperor become nervous and call someone to get the physician. The nobles are whispering with each other, asking why the emperor hasn't shown up without any notice. They were thinking that Lady Poitier must be stopping him from coming to his wedding. Adelaide cursed on her mind, asking if the emperor planned on making her look ridiculous. She doesn't have anyone to ask, nor anyone who would tell her what's happening. She feels as if she's being thrown into the enemy's territory fully unarmed. She gritted her teeth, telling herself to get it together, and ordered someone to get her a chair. She thought that all the nobles present are waiting while seated, so why should she stand? It just looks pathetic. The nobles were surprised that a bride waiting for the emperor remains seated, while some finds her aura amazing and she looks gorgeous. The emperor arrived and was surprised that she was seated. He then realized that without a doubt, to his surprise, the embodiment of an empress. They greet each other while a maid gave her a bouquet of flowers she needs to held in her hands, while man pleased the emperor to walk down the aisle holding the empress' hand, but he only glanced at her and walked by himself, ignoring Adelaide. The empress was shocked with his actions, while the nobles were whispering how the emperor refused to hold the empress' hands when walking down the aisle. Her hand was trembling because of shame. She also refused the bouquet of flowers and walked beside the emperor. He told her not to get greedy, telling her that he heard she asked Diana Poitier if she's a maid. She answered that she would definitely question her since she was in someone's bedchamber without permission. The emperor told her that Diana isn't a maid and warned her not to make such rude mistake ever again. He also told her that he won't spend his night with her, so she doesn't need to wait for him. She smirked, asking herself if it's God's will, and cursed in her mind, telling herself that she now passed the point of no return. The emperor went to Diana's bedroom asking if she's awake. He come closer and remembered his mother's face calling his name. Diana called him asking if he come there as soon as the ceremony was over and apologized for always being a nuisance to him. She told him not to be like this and went to the empress, but he told her that she already told the empress that he won't go. Diana asked how she would introduce herself to the empress because the nobles will blatantly call her a mistress. He asked if she have a title in mind. She answered that she wanted to called the emperor's lover. He agreed while Diana was glad telling to hold her. She was thinking that if she can't become the empress, then she will make sure nobody can completely have that position. Wedding banquets in Egmont are traditionally held on the third day. Diana, who lost her parents early to the swarms of monsters emerging out of the tower, was able to earn status as a daughter of a count and gained Ivory Palace by securing the emperor's love. It's all possible only because she worked hard for it and thought that a princess should never be above her. The empress will never be able to sit on that chair today. The main character of those events is her, not the empress, because that place was meant for her from the start. The scene changed to the empress ordering the maid to take off the dress. The maid apologized and told her that she thought that the measurements they received from Gottrov is different metric system from Egmont. Adelaide disagreed to her, telling if it's that the case, how did the measurements fit for the wedding dress? She ordered her to get it mended even if she become late to the banquet, but the maid apologized because it's hard to mend small dress to get bigger. Adelaide remembered her mother's advice and warning to her not to ever lower her guard in Egmont. She then asked the maids if Diana Poitier managed all of her wedding preparations and if the emperor gave permission. The maids was silent, but she already knew the answer and find it ridiculous. Diana seems like to show her superiority using a mere dress and the emperor's affection. She ordered them to bring her wedding dress and the gold crown and thought to herself that Diana thinks too lightly of Gottrov's witch. At the wedding banquet, Diana was sure that the empress can't attend because she can't wear the prepared dress. The nobles were all flattering how beautiful she was while one noble asked if the emperor went to Ivory Palace on the first night of marriage and laughed that they were really envious. Diana told them that she feels guilty towards the empress, even though she told the emperor to go visit the empress. Her brother added that the emperor ordered that every palace affairs still be delegated to Diana and called her Her Highness. At this rate, he think that the authority held by Her Highness is bigger than the empress, but Lionel told him that was a dangerous statement he's making. The count told him that he didn't lie while Lionel asked him if he wanted to be reminded the reason the banquet is held for. He suggested to be more careful of his words and actions, if he knows his place. The count became angry while Diana stopped him. The two siblings were shocked when they heard the nobles greeting the empress. Lionel was mesmerized to see the empress again walking past in front of him, while Diana was surprised that the empress is wearing her wedding dress. Adelaide stepped on the emperor's stairs that no one could step on. The empress used them without any hesitation. The nobles were hesitant they should go and greet her until Lionel stepped in and greeted the empress with their utmost respect. Diana Poitier greeted the empress to remind everyone her presence and asked her if she liked the wedding ceremony and banquet she prepared. The nobles were shocked with that statement while the empress pulled herself, telling that she worked hard. She also told her not to be upset that she didn't wear the banquet dress she prepared because she couldn't wear it because it was too small in size, and told her not to apologize because everyone makes mistakes. Diana became pale while the nobles then realized that she intentionally did it to the empress. The emperor arrived at the banquet. He realized that empress is a natural dominating and ruling and a woman who won't shed even a single drop of blood when stabbed. He noticed that his mistress is crying and looked at Adelaide, who was thinking if he thinks she made her cry. The emperor asked what she's doing while she answered that they were exchanging greetings. He asked what kind of greeting would make his mistress cry, but she answered that she was also curious and suggested asking the lady herself. Diana answered that she just wanted to greet the empress while he becomes speechless and decided to sit on chair passing through the empress. He warned her not to be interested with Diana and told her that she's his lover, so she shouldn't poke her nose around her. He also added that he himself won't poke his nose around her lover. The empress just smiled, asking him to relay those words to his lover because she's the who approached her first twice. The emperor didn't answer and just glanced at her. The nobles stated that until the end, she is not losing her composure, but Lionel thought that rather than losing her composure, she looks like she's trying hard not to lose it. Adelaide was in her room thinking, what is Karl Ulrich's deal? If he loves Diana so much, he should have just proclaimed her as the empress. She remembered her father telling her to always act like she have it all and don't act humble even when she have nothing at all. An empress not acknowledged by the emperor has nothing but her title. The moment this fact brought to light, everyone will rush to rip her apart. The empress asked the maids who is the one responsible for the general management in the palace, while the maid answered that the position is currently vacant. She then asked if Lady Diana Poitier the one who is filling it temporarily. The maid answered yes. Adelaide asked again who was the former manager. The maid answered that it was Countess Hannah Kix. She ordered her to summon Lady Kix right away and bring her the newest editions of all the Empire's law books. A maid notified her that a visitor was waiting for her and found out it was the Grand Duchess Elizabeth. The Duchess looked at the Empress thinking that she's smaller, but despite that, she's the kind of person who makes her opponent feel pressured just by her existence. Elizabeth told her that she heard that she called Countess Hannah Kix. She used to be her nursemaid. The Empress asked why is she telling her this, while Elizabeth asked if she wanted to strengthen her position in the palace. Adelaide answered that it's only natural of an empress, but the Duchess told her that it won't be easy to do since Diana has the emperor's affection and the power of Duke d'Espinal, the emperor's uncle. The Empress then asked what's it for the Duchess if she were to strengthen her position. Elizabeth realized that she wanted to go straight to the point. She told her that the emperor who's stuck with Diana and Duke d'Espinal is unable to run the empire properly. That's why she desperately hoped her to sever the link between them and the emperor. She also suggested to release a notice to look for an aide. The Empress was confused, but Elizabeth explained that an Empress aide is usually a man. Every time her father, the late emperor, changed his mistress, her mother would also add more aides to send a message. Adelaide was surprised and asked if she's saying that since the emperor has a mistress, she should have one. Elizabeth explained that she wasn't saying she should have a revenge affair, but a fighting spirit. If she do nothing after being humiliated in front of everyone, they will think that the empress is no better than the mistress. And although the chance is low, if Duke Valder's family sends an applicant, she shouldn't think twice and choose that person. Hannah Kix, she became the royal palace manager and the nursemaid for Grand Duchess. Her position made her capable of dominating the royal palace as an influential figure for a long time. However, her world crumbled when an unexpected person made her appearance. Diana Poitier, the one who instilled the late Empress wrath and caused her early death. Soon the emperor fell for her and her first order was to dismiss Countess Kix. The dignity of the dishonorably dismissed old woman was replenished when summoned by the newly enthroned empress. The countess apologized for it has been a while since she came there, while the empress told her that she wanted to entrust her to do those jobs. The countess told her that it's fine for her. However, the emperor won't take it favorably, while Adelaide still asked if it's fine for her. Countess Kix said that it would be her joy. The maid told the empress that the dresses she ordered recently have arrived, but the royal treasury said they can't proceed with her dress payment. Adelaide was shocked to hear it, finding it preposterous to think they said they can't proceed with the Empress dress payment. Adelaide was shocked to hear it, finding it preposterous to think they said they can't proceed with the Empress dress payment. The Empress asked Lady Kix if it's better to call them to the Empress Palace and bear the payment with her own pocket. The Countess told her that it would be bad for her prestige if rumors were to spread, so it would be better to call them to the palace. They could give them money and silence them. She ordered the maid to bring them inside the palace. Adelaide reached for gold bars, thinking that she wouldn't guess that she would have to use these so soon. She asked the Countess her opinion, why did this happen, while Lady Kix explained that she thinks there is no budget allocated to the Empress Palace. She asked if it meant that she have to put up with it, but Lady Kix answered that she shouldn't. Allocation of budget could be done by an emergency supplementary budget system. However, the authority regarding the supplementary budget is under the Emperor. The Empress then thought that she really have to face him directly, while the Countess asked where is she going. She answered that if you know the enemy and yourself, you need not fear defeat. At the conference room, Count Calvin was begging the Emperor to send a striker magician to get rid of the tower and keepers who could block the monsters. People keep dying out there as he speak, and now that there are aerial monsters spawning out of the tower, they don't have a way to back them anymore. Lennox Poitier asked him for making such a fuss, whining over a mere level 4 tower. But the Count told him that it wasn't just a level 4 tower. Lennox asked the Count if they send magicians to his fief, and that time, there's a level 1 tower descending at the royal palace. What would he do? He asked if it's fine to put the Emperor in danger, while the Count told him to watch his words. At the meantime, the Empress was on the other room listening to their conference. Lionel Valdir told the Emperor to prioritize sending magicians to Count Calvin's territory, telling him that they have many magicians residing in the royal palace too. Lennox asked what is he saying, asking if he thought that their magicians are just idling away in the royal palace. The Emperor stopped them and told Count Calvin that she feels bad for his fief. However, sending magicians his way is deemed unnecessary. The Count pleaded him to reconsider it, but the Emperor ended the conference and told them to leave. The nobles were surprised to see the Empress and immediately greeted her. However, Duke d'Espinal called her his niece-in-law and was glad to meet her. The nobles were surprised of the way he's addressing the Empress. The Duke noticed the glare from the Empress' eyes and apologized for offending her, telling that he just wanted to come off as friendly. The Empress told him that he seemed to chose the wrong way to be perceived as friendly and hope him to be more careful in the future. The Empress noticed Lionel Valdir greeting her. She approached him asking whose Count Calvin is. The Count bowed his head and greeted her while she asked if he said that there were aerial monsters spawning. The Count answered her yes, while she asked if there's no magicians assigned to each region's unit. Lennox butted in and explained that magicians arenaged by the capital. He greeted her and introduced himself as the vice captain of the magic department. Adelaide asked him if Egmont doesn't classify towers with aerial monsters as intermediate. Lennox answered that she doesn't need to be too concerned about it because he's doing his best to protect the royal palace so no monster or tower may come near them. She told him, "Is that so?" while thinking that he's looking down on her. The Empress entered the conference room while the Emperor asked what she wanted to say. She asked what's his reason to propose for royal marriage because he's the one who proposed this marriage. He answered that just so there's one, just so it exists, just like the vein of the quill, existing solely as decoration. She fulfilled her role by simply existing. She was speechless, thinking that he wanted to have an Empress as a decoration. Adelaide asked if he really wanted her to fulfill her position as Empress, then why did he have to hurt her prestige? She asked if he'd do that because he's worried she might harass Diana Poitier. The Emperor is silent, not answering her question. She clenched dress, thinking that she expected that it was the reason. The Empress told him that she's glad he wanted her to exist merely as the Empress because she wanted that too. She stated that she's the Empress of Egmont and planned to carry out her duty thoroughly and requested him for his cooperation. The emperor asked what cooperation does she mean. She answered that she needs to learn about the Egmont Empire, and she needs a consultant. She requested the former royal palace overseer, Countess Hannah Kix, as her consultant. He frowned, repeating the name Hannah Kix, while the empress told him that she won't be appointed as the royal palace overseer. The emperor agreed to it. She thanked him and added that the empress palace does not have any budget and request for an emergency supplementary budget. He looked at her red dress, which symbolizes the Egmont's empress, and remembered how he reached his hand to those unreachable trails of skirts. Her mother told him that the empress will never acknowledge him. He was asking himself that the empress palace budget hasn't been revised, and ordered a man to call for Diana Poitier. The emperor's mistress went to his room asking for the reason of calling her. He asked if she brought the royal palace budget. He looked through it and asked why didn't she delegate the emergency supplementary budget to the empress palace, because he's certain it's included in the empress welcoming preparations. Diana made a pitiful face asking if she haven't done that yet. She claimed that she forgot about it and apologized to him. He told her that she only need to revise it and told her to stop crying, while she stated that the empress must have been displeased. He looked at her face and reminded him of his mother's pitiful face. He revealed that he transferred the empress duties back to the empress palace, and he will retract the palace internal duties he entrusted to her. Diana became pale and shocked, thinking that those duties will later be delegated to the empress. Duke Valdir was telling his brother that Duke Desvonal's plan to place a puppet empress by recommended Ngotrov's princess seems to have failed. Lionel agreed that the empress can dominate people merely with her face, while his brother now understand the reason Ngotrov's empress dowager married her daughter off across the sea. The newly throned emperor is only 14 years old. Such a powerful elder sister would be a disadvantage in strengthening the emperor's power. He asked if Lionel is still listening to him, but Lionel was asking himself why he cannot bring himself to forget her. Adelaide inquired about the dress payment, while Lady Kix told her she needs to place an order for new dresses because it looks exactly like the former empress. It would irritate the emperor and suggested to avoid wearing them. She agreed and thought that she needs more trustworthy people like Lady Kix. She told her to summon Count Calvin to her palace. The empress asked Count Calvin when did the tower descend and the diameter of the tower. The count was confused, but answered her that there are no keepers who could hold off the tower. She asked if there's not a single magician present there. The count answered yes. The capital usually sends help based on the tower's level. She told him that there's no different than telling the whole area to die, while the count begged her to save them because, as they speak, the citizens are dying miserably. He thanked her and told that he needs to return to Fief, while Adelaide told him to tell his citizens to seek refuge in the neighboring Fief. The best places to hide from aerial monsters are underground spaces, like caves. After that, join forces with other lords so he can hold ground longer, effectively pressuring the capital more. The empress gave golds to the count while he asked the reason for giving those to him. She answered that with that, his citizens and others would be able to survive for a little while, and apologized that she can't aid him in another method. Lady Kix suggested to have a good relationship with the emperor. So Adelaide went to meet him because the wise decision that will ensure her comfortable stay in Egmont for now is getting along with the emperor. He asked the reason for seeking him at night, while she told him if he would like to dine together. The emperor told her that he was going to call her to ask something and proceed on asking the reason for summoning Count Calvin. She answered that she summoned him because she was worried about his situation, while he told her that his fief is about to fall into ruins because of the tower, and he didn't send any help. He heard that she gave him gold bars quietly and asked what did she think that means, asking she wanted to play the virtuous role by herself. She explained that she only summoned Count Calvin to give him some advice and a compensation money, while asking the reason for interrogating her like she committed a sin. The emperor stand and approached her, telling her to close her eyes and cover her ears because she only need to think and see good things. She told him that it was simply something that any human would do for someone, but he finds it funny just because she's an empress. She would believe his people, who she never seen before, are her people. Adelaide feels nauseous telling herself that she can't stay there anymore, while the emperor finds her attractive and her smell sweet, asking himself if she's the same woman who dominated the crowd just by her gaze. The emperor looked at her stare, asking what's with her expression, and asked aren't she there late at night looking attractive because she want to spend the night with him. He told her that if she asked him to hug her, he will comply. He told her to close her eyes so that he may kiss her. He is about to kiss her when she told him to stop. The emperor grabbed her hand, telling her that he knew that she used to be the Gotrav's princess. Those eyes are befitting of a ruler. However, he reminded her that he is the emperor of that place. He like a woman who's gentle and obedient, so she don't have to meddle in his affairs ever again. Adelaide was trembling and pale leaving the emperor's room when Diana saw her, noticing her trembling hand and shaking body. She whispered on her ears, telling that she seems like she's heeding her advice. However, she seemed not going the way she wanted. Diana asked if she's running away and suggested to apply makeup a bit thicker since she have a pale complexion. The empress run away when Diana was further, and then she was catched by Lionel after tripping from the stairs. She thanked him and excused herself and passed through him. A man came with the request to confirm the revision of the emergency supplementary budget. She took it and asked the man where's the document coming from and if it's sent by the emperor. The man answered that it was sent from the Ivory Palace. She stated that it looks like the Ivory Palace also handles things that way. She asked Lady Kix if she have the authority to look over the entire budget of the royal palace. She answered that she do, and asked how much was the written amount for her to do that. She showed her the document sent by Diana, while Lady Kix was shocked that the amount for the Empress budget is not enough to even buy a mere horse. Lady Kix agreed that the Ivory's palace budget exceeds that of the Empress palace. Diana Poitier received the document back to her, asking if the Empress told her to allot the budget again. She then write on the document stating that she don't know if the Empress would be satisfied with that. Adelaide received the document stating for it to arrive fast means that the authority for the supplementary budget revision resides with the Ivory Palace. She ripped the document, telling the man that he needs to go back and come back again. Diana received the Empress word stating that it seems like the Empress wants to be lavish. She ordered her maid to bring her plainest dress, then run to the Emperor and tell him that the Empress called Diana regarding supplementary budget revision, and she's now trembling with fear. The scene changed to the Empress, who found the authority of acquiring residency permit of the palace is solely under the Empress. Lady Kix reminded her to be careful. The royal palace law is a double-edged sword. If she use it and swing it around, she should be prepared for her hand to be hurt. She told her to look at her. Even though she's the Empress, she still have to request a budget increase from the Emperor's mistress. The Empress claimed that the Emperor was the one who swung the sword first, and she's been hurt enough from it. She ordered Lady Kix to bring her Diana Poitier's residency permit. Adelaide was busy thinking of recruiting an aide and established her one standing when she feels something strange. She ran to the window thinking that she was sure that was a tower's energy. A maid suddenly told her that Diana Poitier is requesting her audience. Diana arrived with a plain dress while showing her pitiful face. The Empress asked if she brought the correction she asked for. Diana answered yes and asked what is it that has upset her. She showed the documents showing the details of the Ivory Palace's arranged budget. She asked why is she showing those to her, while Adelaide asked why are there no details on the usage of the Ivory Palace budget and asked if she perhaps know the reason. Diana asked why is she asking about the details of the Ivory Palace budget, while she answered that the budget allocated to the Ivory Palace can be transferred over to the Empress Palace. She become pale while Adelaide continue explaining that it's only natural as an Empress to receive the allocated budget. The Empress thanked her for her hard work and won't ask her to write out every single detail of the budget usage after all. She will be the one who will be doing that. She just needs to hand over the Ivory Palace budget to the Empress Palace. Diana gritted her teeth thinking that the Empress, without her family influence or a single ally on her side, is still the Empress. She doesn't even have a title. There's no way she can reject that order. She started crying thinking that the palace and the position beside the Emperor is all hers. Adelaide told her that she was the Empress of Egmont and warned not to challenge her authority and don't think it was taken from her. Diana was thinking that the authority was hers to begin with and asked herself why aren't the Emperor coming. The Emperor burst inside the room asking what was the Empress doing. Diana immediately went on her knee asking for his forgiveness. The Empress was shocked that she was doing that again. The Emperor asked what the hell she's doing while looking at Diana trembling. Adelaide told Diana to get up quickly asking why is she doing that suddenly when they were just conversing just fine before. But Diana keeps on crying and the Emperor called the Empress. Adelaide told him that she should be the one asking what he's doing. He ordered the maid to take Diana out and all the maids to leave because he will speak with the Empress alone. Lady Kix greeted the Emperor while he asked if it's fun trampling the weak. Adelaide ordered her to wait outside, but the Emperor shouted asking if she found it fun. Adelaide shouted also ordering Lady Kix to wait outside. He asked what is she doing while the Empress asked the same question. The Emperor told her that she have a bad habits while she answered that she never did anything. He told her that he saw everything and not to give excuses, but Adelaide explained that Lady Poitier started to beg as soon as he entered the room. He smirked telling her that it is an incredible coincidence and asked if she's greedy for what Diana has. The Empress told him that it is not Diana who went overboard, but him. She asked if he look at the supplementary budget revision for the Empress Palace and reach it to him, asking if the Empress Palace budget be less than that of a commoner's house. He asked if that is the reason for summoning Diana, but she answered that it was her who came by herself. The Emperor told her that her mother seems to lied to him. She said that her daughter was an obedient and devoted daughter and asked if she didn't realize anything after getting kicked out of her homeland. The Empress told him not to speak mindlessly if he aren't aware of the full story that left her no choice but to leave Gotrov. The Emperor grabbed her shoulder telling her to be just like a quill of a quill pen and just like a vase that holds flowers. Suddenly, a huge lighting were seen and Adelaide felt the tower's energy. Lady Kix told her that there's a tower descending right now and she needs to hurry and take shelter, but she answered no because there is no need for that. The maids and servant were screaming shouting that a tower is descending in the royal palace, while the soldiers thought that it looks like a level 4 or 5. Lionel ordered the soldiers to get in their positions telling them to maintain the line. They need to block it until the magicians come. He asked if the magicians still not arrived. The man answered that he can't see them. Lionel thought that they were going to appear once all the knights are dead again. He shout ordering to go to the magician's residence and call them there. Those who react to a tower's magical power and can use them at will are called magicians. Lennox Poitier, the vice captain of the magician division, is a level 1 striker or offense magician. He is Egmont's best magician, both in name and reality. The soldier told him that it was an order from the Minister of Defense to go to the palace and assemble all the magicians at the Rose Garden where the tower is descending now. He answered that it was hard to do that right now. The magician division falls under the jurisdiction of the Emperor. They are not obligated to follow the orders of the Minister of Defense. Lennox told him that he heard he didn't get his salary this time. It probably not matter to him. But if one of his subordinates have any financial struggles, should he give one of his buttons? Sir Jackal told him to use his time spouting nonsense to get ready instead, but Lennox reminded him that he's the one who needs his help urgently. He's sure the later he come, the greater the damage to the knights. Sir Jackal shouted at Time that a tower is descending on the royal palace and asked if he thinks the magicians would be fine after that. Lennox told him that even if the magicians are reprimanded, he's sure he won't be, and reminded Sir Jackal not to get on his nerves, or else he might not go there until all the knights are dead. Sir Jackal called him and bowed his head, requesting politely that he needs the magician's cooperation. This made Lennox thrilled of how thankful this natural, dark disaster is a blessing and God's gift for him. Back at the scene where Lionel was telling his knights to be careful not to be swept up by the ascending current of air, and asked the other knight if the magicians have arrived, he answered not yet. He thought that in the end, they won't come on time again, and the least he can do is try to protect more of his subordinates. Until someone asked why is he standing there and find the Empress the one asking. He asked the reason for her unescorted and told her to take shelter. He ordered Sir Rupert to escort the Empress, but she asked why are there no magicians, and why aren't they destroying the tower while it's descending, and are they still waiting for it to reach the ground? Lionel didn't answer her and insists to hurry up and take shelter in safe location. A fragment is about to hit the. Lionel told her to take cover behind him, but the fragment was hit by a magic. He asked himself is the magicians arrived, but they were still quite far, and asked whose magic was that just now. The Empress told him that since it's a level 4 tower, they must not wait anymore, and pulled her sword, while Lionel asked what is she planning to do. She suddenly run to the tower while Lionel was worried, telling her that she might be swept into the rising air current if she go that way. He noticed that his hand was repelled, asking himself if it's magic, while Adelaide told him not to worry and not to get in her way. She was pulled up by the air current where the tower's origin was. The knights were nervous and restless, asking what should they do. Lionel ordered them to get a hold of themselves and prepare when the Empress falls down. Lennox and his magician were shocked that the Empress was swept up by the uprising air current. He ordered them to circle surrounding the tower and catch her when she falls. He was shocked when he saw the tower burning, while the knights asked Lionel to give them orders. But he told them to just wait for a moment, and remembered the Empress inquiring about the tower and felt that she must be a magician. He saw the Empress falling down the air smiling, while Adelaide was thinking to prepare for her landing, but she becomes surprised when she saw Lionel spreading him arms trying to catch her. She landed lightly in front of him, asking if he's going to catch her. He answered that he was planning to catch her. She landed lightly in front of him, asking if he's going to catch her. He answered that he was planning to catch her. She explained that he might lose his arms if he do that, but thanked him for his kind gesture and for yesterday too. Lionel asked himself how can she smile like that, asking if she's the same person running away with pale face yesterday. The Empress approached Lennox, telling him to sheath his sword since there's no need for it. Lennox cursed on his mind to think that the Empress is a magician. The palace maids and servant, including the nobles, were discussing how the Empress single-handedly destroyed the tower. They were thinking if the Duke d'Esvenel would recruit her for the magician division, since she solely destroyed the tower, and asked if she is much stronger than Lennox Poitier. Lennox reported what happened to Duke d'Esvenel, while the Duke clarified if she destroyed it single-handedly. He told him that the Empress is an amazing person, not mention she's a striker. Lennox thought to himself that he can also did that. He was just planning to wait for those arrogant knights to fall into despair, but the Empress ruined everything. After destroying the tower without a help from anyone, her mana was drained out, causing fatigue. Lady Kix was worried to the Empress' condition and ordered a maid to deliver a letter to the Grand Duchess. Meanwhile, the Emperor was thinking about when the tower was ascending. His servant told him to hurry and evacuate, but he told him to stop making a big deal out of it. It's no big deal to take care of a tower that big. He will tell them to get rid of it at the right time. But he was surprised to saw the tower is in flames, asking if it's the magician division's doing. The news relayed to him that the empress is the one that destroyed the tower by herself. He thought that the Gotrov's Empress Dowager only accurate information sent was her daughter's name and sex. He ordered a servant to go to Gotrov Empire and find out more about Adelaide's track record. Back at the Empress Palace, Adelaide greets Madame Kix telling her to put a notice for recruiting an aide. The qualification standards are males above 20 years old, and they must be single. The selection will be conducted through an interview. The public announcement of recruitment from the Empress caused an uproar in Egmont's social circles, and the Valdir family is no exception. Duke Valdir was wondering what's the Empress' intention, asking if she's doing this to protest against the Emperor, or is she planning to fight back Diana Poitiers by establishing her own individual power. He asked Lionel's opinion about the matter while he answered that he doesn't know either. Their aide told them that she might just be looking for some amusement while Duke Valdir doesn't care the reason anymore since they can't just sit still. He was asking who would be suitable to entrust the task to while his aide told him that it must be someone who has long history with the Valdir family. He needs to be capable enough to execute the aide's responsibility while keeping the Emperor in check. Aside from that, he also needs to bear the rumors of being the Empress lover. Lionel told his brother that he will apply for the Empress aide. Duke Valdir was surprised, telling him to think it over. He explained that he won't get anything out of it. If he become an aide, everyone will talk behind his back about him being the Empress lover, but Lionel answered that he have no honor left for it to be ruined. He explained that they can't recede anymore because it was just yesterday that Lennox Poitiers intentionally dawdled around despite his order for backup. However, he can't complain about the Magician Division even though he's the Minister of Defense. Lionel added that they don't know about magicians, towers, and monsters. At least the Empress did probably know a lot more about them than they do. If he can obtain information about them by being an aide, they can better themselves, but Duke Valdir is still hesitant, telling that if their mother is alive, she would surely slap his back for this. Lionel smiles, taking those words that his brother is allowing him. Diana Poitiers was in the Emperor's room thinking that he didn't say anything to her, even though this is the first time she's seen him after that day at the Empress Palace. She told him that she heard the news that the Empress posted a public announcement about recruiting an aide. She told him that she's worried because it hasn't been even a month since the Empress got married. The Emperor told her that it's not something she have to concern herself with. She become teary after hearing those words, then turn around to leave. But the Emperor reminded her to take proper care of the revision of the Empress Palace budget so there's no more commotion is caused from it. Diana's tears drip more, thinking that the Emperor Karl Ulrich is both her heaven and hell. He can make her life heaven and then switch it to hell easily, just like now. Adelaide was reading the application documents for an aide, telling Lady Kix that it would be best for her to accept someone from Valdir family. The interview starts where many men from different noble households sent their representative, from the first applicant up to the last applicant. She was disappointed. There isn't a single applicant who understood the meaning of her announcement, thinking that an applicant from the Valdir family hasn't shown up yet. Lady Kix asked if she was tired and should send the applicants away. However, she insisted on guiding them in, so she can finish this up quickly and rest after that. Lady Kix was about to call the next applicant when she saw Lionel Valdir approaching the Empress room in an attractive clothes. The applicants were surprised that Lionel Valdir will apply the position of the Empress lover, thinking that it's obvious who will get selected. Lady Kix gave the last applicant paper to the Empress. She was surprised and told her to let him in. Adelaide asked for his understanding for not offering him tea because all applicants were treated the same way. Lionel looked at the Empress' intense look and concluded that she wasn't looking for an aide just for amusement. He asked if she's planning to balance the power. In a place where she have nowhere to lean on, she want to cooperate with influential people she can trust to fight back those in power. Lionel asked if that's the reason she was looking for an aide and told her that he's confident he's the better option. She smiled, thinking that he accurately figured out her intentions, and asked if he sincerely wanted to be his aide. He answered that he was sincere. Adelaide asked why would the direct bloodline of Valdir do it himself when they could have sent one of their vassal. He answered that it's because he wanted the Empress knowledge about towers. She asked if he believed it's better to know more about towers, despite of what he might lose as her aide, while Lionel answered yes without hesitation. The Empress called his name informally, telling him that he have to pretend to be her lover, asking if he's aware of that fact. She added that she will have to call his name and speak informally to him, that way, they would look like lovers in their eyes. Adelaide asked if it's still fine with that, then she will appoint him as her aide, while Lionel answered yes, and he is also fine if they think that they were lovers, asking to appoint as her aide. The Empress smiled, thinking that she finally found an aide who's really to her liking. At night, the news reached the ears of the Emperor, clarifying who did the servant said just applied. The butler answered that Lionel Valdir applied as the Empress aide. He asked if the Empress choose him. The butler answered that he haven't heard about it since the Empress hasn't formally announced it yet. The Emperor went to the balcony, thinking the sweet scent of the Empress still lingers on his nose. The day the Empress came to him, if he had accepted her invitation drunk on her scent, he's sure he would have sent Diana away and spent the night with her. He asked himself if simply being there and simply existing is challenging to do. What's so bad about being the quill of a quill pen or a vase holding the flowers? He is thinking if he wants to leash a beast, he must pluck out its fangs and claws. The Emperor visited Adelaide, asking who is she going to appoint as her aide, but the Empress asked if she have to report it to him. The Emperor repeated his question, who would she choose, while the Empress answered that whoever she choose, it's up to her heart and he doesn't need to ask. He asked if she's going to choose Lionel Valdir, while she asked if she's going to choose him. The Emperor ordered her to choose someone else, but she insisted on choosing Lionel Valdir. He shouted at her while she reminded him of what he told her during the wedding ceremony. "Don't pay attention to my lover. I will not be interested in your lover either." She asked if he forget those words and told him that she will give him the same words back. He asked if she's protesting against him, but she answered that it was impossible because she's been looking a lot of people for 3 days, and Lionel was the only one that caught her eye. He told her to recognize her position, but she answered that she have no intention of becoming an accessory. She asked if it wouldn't be his priority to acknowledge her as an equal spouse, but he remained speechless and warned her to think wisely and don't regret it later. Lady Kix revealed the story. The late Empress, who was extremely upset that her own maid gave birth to the Emperor's child. The Emperor made the Empress adopt the child, making the successor. The child grew up well in the Empress palace. His real mother was revealed to him when he was 6 years old. His birth mother, whom he finally met at 7 years old, was already half insane. It was only natural for the child's foundation to be wrecked. Adelaide now understood the hostility of the Emperor towards her was because he projected the late Empress to her, while Lady Kix explained it must have instinctively come out in the heat of the moment, but it surely was not under his rational judgment. The Empress burst out, telling her that it's a grave problem if an emperor sitting on the throne acts irrationally and instinctively. Lady Kix reminded her that he's still the sovereign one and her husband, but she disagreed, asking her sarcastically if she should lie low and try to please the emperor. She revealed that when she first arrived at Egmont, Diana Poitiers came to her and told her about the emperor's preferences. Lady Kix was angry by Diana, while the Empress asked Lady Kix the difference between her advice and what Diana Poitiers said. Lady Kix finally understood and apologized to her, while Adelaide told her that her most essential possession that she's trying to protect is her ideals, pride and honor. Everything about herself, for her, that's more vital than the emperor's position. That's why she would rather die than obey his orders to do nothing and live a life controlled by others. Lady Kix was surprised to saw the emperor coming back since he left an hour earlier. She told him that the empress was about to sleep. He asked if the empress is available to spend the night together. She was surprised by his question while he concluded that it seems it's possible that day. Adelaide asked what on earth is he doing, but he told her that he wanted to spend the night with her. She was shocked, thinking an emperor is someone who always gets what he wants and he has no reason to hesitate or suppress his desire, even if the other party is the empress. He told that her gaze feels murderous while Adelaide told him that it hasn't even been an hour since he told her she's going to regret it, but out of nowhere, he want to sleep together now. He remembered her words about him needing to acknowledge her as his spouse, and for him to do that, isn't that what he must do first? He told her that it appears she desires some power in the Empress Palace and she don't have to take the long way, reminding her that it was also one of the Empress duties, and told her to do her duty and get power while she's at it. She pushed him away, telling him to take his hands off, but he grabbed her hand, telling that she's really difficult. She don't want to do the Empress duty, but still want to have its power. Adelaide was thinking that the Emperor is her spouse, whether she like it or not. Spending their first night together is a given duty. However, she wondered why she feels very disgusted about it. He asked why can't she accept it. He's the only one she have to bow to in this empire. She answered that she never heard the Empress has to unconditionally submit to the Emperor, asking if this is what it means to be an Empress in Egmont. He touches her foot while she flinched. The Emperor stared at her, then proceeded on kissing her foot gently. Adelaide was surprised, asking what is he doing, while the Emperor asked if she's satisfied now, claiming that he have bowed down, and kisses her foot. He then caressed her lips, but the Empress told him to let go of her. This made him disappointed with her, telling her that she seems not to know her place. He added that she chose to protect her ego by baring her teeth, even when her grand pride is the only thing she possesses. The Emperor told her to bow, yield, and kneel for him, but she answered that she would never do that. He smiled, telling her that she will be the one to regret it anyway. Adelaide was left feeling defeated, and tears fell on her bedsheet. She remembered what Diana told her, that all is not going how she wanted it, and the face of the Emperor telling her to live like the vein of a quill pen, and lastly, she remembered the face of her mother telling her not to do something she will regret. The Empress woke up and found those memories as her dreams. Suddenly, Lady Kix told her a shocking news, that the Emperor has given a royal order to cancel the supplementary budget revision of the Empress Palace. She cursed in her mind, thinking that she wanted to use cheap and cowardly tricks like this, but she is not affected. When news of cancellation of the Empress Palace budget was about to spread like wildfire in the royal palace, the Empress Palace sent an official announcement that Lionel Valdir was appointed as the Empress aide. The Empress is fighting fire with fire. The Empress was telling Lionel that a rumor will soon spread throughout the Empress Palace, and everyone will say that the Empress and her aide are so affectionate. He doesn't know what to say and just end up answering, "Yes, Your Majesty." Adelaide stared at him and told him it isn't easy for her either to pretend to be close, since she's putting in much effort. He should reciprocate with longer answers. He realized his mistake and answered her in a very long sentence. This made the Empress giggle, thinking that he was fun to tease. She asked if his family wants to balance the power centered around magic division. He answered that is his final goal, and he also wished to change how they handle and react to the towers. All information about the towers is exclusively held by the magic division, and they refuse to divulge any of it. The Empress realized with that, the tower becomes their power. That's exactly what her mother wanted. She shared that their goals were in the same direction. She will start by using her status as a magician to enter Egmont's politics, but she still have one thing to take care of. Lionel asked if she's talking about the cancellation of the supplementary budget revision for the Empress Palace, and told her that the Valdir family will formally raise their objection to the Emperor. She smiled, telling that is the best news she ever heard recently. However, She asked if a momentary protest like that can be called a proper revenge. He understood what is she talking about, telling that she wanted to give the emperor a dose of his own medicine. Suddenly, a letter came from Diana Poitier which told her to get dressed as the prince of one fine horse. Diana told her to buy anything within that revised supplementary budget so she can prepare for the upcoming national holiday. She was thinking, how far will Diana Poitier will provoke her? Adelaide ordered Lady Kix to prepare the required documents as she will write the official order. Lionel asked if she planning to order Diana Poitier to move out immediately. Some people will sympathize with Diana Poitier, and suggested something instead. The Empress smiled, thinking how upright he is, but actually came up with this scheme. Diana was looking at the jewelries, but somehow she feels uneasy. She remembered that last night, the Emperor came looking for her out of the blue, then suddenly disappeared and came back again after a while, but slept without touching her. She was anxious as to why he is suddenly doing things he's never done before. She called Lorraine to bring one of the Empress Palace maids at once. She asked if the Emperor visited the Empress last night. The maid answered that he did visit the Empress Palace last night. Diana asked how many times and tell her in detail. The maid answered that the Emperor visited the Empress 2 times last night. He came immediately after the Empress took a bath. He left with an angry face, then returned less than an hour later. She became nervous after knowing that the Emperor, with excitement in his eyes and heavy breathing, returned to the Empress Palace. She asked why did he run out to the Empress Palace with that look on his face. Diana looked at the mirror, examining her face and her body, claiming that her face has lost its shine. She checked on her abdomen, thinking that it's flat. She asked why haven't she conceived yet. Neither the Emperor nor her are infertile. At the conference meeting, Lionel asked Duke d'Espinal and Count Poitier why isn't the Department of Magicians doing anything about the towers? Is it because they don't have the will to save people, or is it just that they don't have the capability to do so? The men in question were speechless while Lionel looked at the Emperor and asked to save the people of Count Calvin, even if it's late. Duke Valdir stood telling them to give the Empress the right she deserves and asked what was the reason behind the rejection of the Empress supplementary budget revision. The Emperor told them that they seem to be mentioning the Empress a lot now that he have become her aide, claiming that even among the commoners, it's always the wife who supports the husband. He asked the Minister of Defense to assess the situation properly instead of flaunting his relationship, while Duke Valdir told him that his words were too harsh. Their conversation were cut when the Emperor's secretary went inside telling the Emperor that the Empress has withdrawn the Ivory Palace residency permit for Lady Diana Poitier. He was surprised and looked at the document to confirm that it was really the Empress by looking at the Empress seal. Count Poitier became furious, claiming that the Empress can't do that because that permit was granted by the Emperor himself. One noble explained that according to the palace laws, all decisions regarding residency permits lie under the Empress authority. If someone outside the royal family, who doesn't have a clear position in the palace, is granted a permit due to private matters, hence for permit to be granted, Lady Diana Poitier must acknowledge her status as guest. The bill of her stay in the Ivory Palace shall be covered by Count Poitier. He was shocked, thinking that the Empress demanded that they pay such an astronomical amount of money. The Emperor rose and went outside the room immediately. He opened the door with an angry face and saw the Empress wearing a cloak ready to leave the palace. He asked where is she going in that attire while she asked what brings him there. He ordered to revoke the decree regarding the residency permit of the Ivory Palace, but Adelaide told him to revoke his decree first. The Emperor asked why would he do that, asking if there's any problem regarding his decree, while the Empress told him that she merely told Diana to pay the appropriate price if she still wanted to stay. He warned her that he won't say it twice, ordering her to revoke it, right here, right now. The Empress told him to straighten things up first and asked if he knows what she had to endure today. explaining that the merchants that the Ivory Palace sent told her to choose anything within the prints of the cancelled supplementary budget revision. She stated to face those who wield a sword with a sword. Adelaide though that he will never be able to block her ever again, and he won't be able to take anything from her either, since he have nothing at all that he could offer her. She is about to leave when the emperor grabbed her asking where is she going. The empress answered that she's going on a secret inspection. Adelaide stated the palace law. The empress may go out of the palace for secret inspections without the emperor's permission, and also holds the right to keep the location and purpose of it a secret. The emperor told her that she looks like she memorized every single line of the palace law. She answered that she is capable of memorizing it. Yet she can't even receive an appropriate budget, not even enough for the price of a horse. She smacked his hand telling him to let go, and revealed that she's going outside to see how the citizens of Egmont live, and she will take 3 or 4 days. The emperor was looking at her leaving while thinking he wanted to hold her down, to put a chained collar on her neck, put his nose on her nape, and drown himself in her scent. Adelaide went to Duke Valder's mansion to stay there for her inspection. She called Lionel by his name asking if they have a lot of book collection. The Duke noticed how the Empress called his brother by his name only, and the way she talked to him informally. He noticed that they're also being friendly asking if Lionel really planned on becoming her lover. The Empress noticed that the Duke looked stunned and realized that he just discovered that she talked informally with Lionel, but it's still awkward to explain to him that they were pretending to be lovers, so that they can fool other people. She told him to talk to each other informally, and become embarrassed after realizing she wasn't going to say that. The Duke feels awkward, but told her that the library was on the 2nd floor while Lionel told her that he will guide her there. He looked at her, ears reddened, thinking that he didn't know that the Empress had this side to her. The scene went back to the royal palace where Lady Kix read the decree telling Diana Poitier whether she decides to stay in the royal palace, or if she rather go back to her family. She was shocked to hear it, asking Lady Kix if she's telling her to move out of the Ivory Palace. Lady Kix explained that the Empress didn't say she had to move out immediately, while Diana told her that she was permitted to reside in the Ivory Palace by the Emperor himself, asking how dare the Empress overrule the Emperor's decision without his permission. Lady Kix shouted, how dare she? It's the Empress decree and she must mind her manners, but she insisted that she will never leave the Ivory Palace unless it's the Emperor's decree. Lady Kix told her that she will take it as her intention to rent the entirety of Ivory Palace, then she will calculate the bill for renting it and send the invoice to Count Poitier. Diana was shocked while Lady Kix explained that it's explicitly stated in the Royal Palace Book of Laws that the residency permit approval for the Royal Palace lies under the Empress authority. It means that the Empress has the right to rescind the Emperor's decree without his approval. Diana grabbed the lady, ordering to tell the Empress that she will regret it if she dares to treat her like this, asking if she thinks the Emperor will just sit by and allow her to be forced out of the Ivory Palace. Lady Kix touched Diana's face, telling her that she have wrinkles now and she will probably develop more. She leaned and whispered that she know what she use as a weapon to keep the Emperor on her side. She know that she truly resembles the Emperor's mother. Diana told her to shut up and stop speaking with her forked tongue, but the lady continued asking if she knew when Lady Beatrice passed away, and revealed it was when she was 29. She had a baby face and no wrinkles. To the Emperor, that person is 29. She is someone who he will forever remember at her bloom of youth, someone who will never age. Lady Kix asked if she have an idea how many women, younger than 29, also have blonde hair and blue eyes. She turned around and leave the room. Diana looked around the luxurious place, asking how dare she try and chase her out of the palace, when all she has is just the title of the Empress. Why on earth is this title of Empress making her so miserable? Back at the Valdir estate, Lionel asked the Empress if she's capable of removing towers below level 4 by herself. She answered that it's possible for her to remove a tower of level 5 and under, while Lionel continued asking if it's common practice in Gotrov to remove tower before it reached the ground. Adelaide explained that they found out about that method by chance around 5 years ago, but the problem with that method is that a magician who can ride on a rising air current like her is rare. Duke Valdir asked about her opinion regarding not removing towers that have reached the ground and if it's possible to manage them. She answered that managing towers is absolutely not good and they should never do such a thing. Lionel showed a map showing many towers that reached the ground that were dispersed in different regions of Egmont. This caused the Empress to be worried and asked the Duke if all those red rocks are towers. Duke Valdir confirmed it, telling her that those towers are currently being controlled in Egmont, while the Empress told them that it means Egmont is no different from hell. Lionel asked for her help since they are desperate of her help. Back at the palace, a maid notified Diana that the Emperor will visit her while she removed her earring to look pathetic in front of him. She showed her appearance and greeted him while the Emperor thinks that she has become more gaunt and she seriously looks like she's going to break soon. Like she's about to die. Just like that person, he closed his eyes thinking that he felt like he's suffocating. She stepped closer to him thinking that he must have found it outrageous that the Empress tried to chase her out of the Ivory Palace. How pitiful she looked in his eyes, being chased out by the Empress. Diana hugged the Emperor, telling him that she's fine and she's all right, but he didn't say anything about it. He started asking if she sent merchants to the Empress Palace. That caused her to be shocked and pale that he's asking about the Empress. The Emperor asked her again if she'd comment something along the lines of the price of a horse. Her hands trembled, explaining that she feels bad for the Empress, worried how can the Empress buy herself dresses and accessories. Diana started crying, telling him that she didn't say about the price of a horse and only told the merchants about the amount the Emperor gave her to spend. The Emperor told her that she have nothing to gain by provoking the Empress and reminded her that she told him that she only needed his love. She answered that she only needed his love, while the Emperor warned her to keep those words in mind and ordered her to vacate the Ivory Palace. He told her that he will prepare a place in his palace for her to reside. The Empress won't be able to touch the Emperor's palace. If she doesn't want to move there, she can also move back to Count Poitier's residency. Diana froze and rushed to him, telling him not to abandon her. She begged not to abandon her, but the Emperor just slapped her hand, reminding her not to make such remarks because she resembles his birth mother more and more. The Emperor was drinking alcohol, asking where on earth did the Empress go. He remembered a servant telling him that since there was no budget allocated to the Empress Palace, the Empress doesn't have any escort knights nor private maids assisting her. He cursed in his mind, asking if this means he can't find the Empress whereabouts because he didn't allocate any budget to the Empress Palace. However, the answer is quite simple. Where would the Empress go? It's obvious the Empress is at Duke Valdir's residence. Adelaide was escorted by Lionel to see the whereabouts of the people in slum. They found a place that smelled really foul. The river has turned into something inhabitable. The water supply facilities are inadequate. The Empress asked about the burning smell as well, while Lionel explained that it's probably the smell of the incinerated dead. The place is too packed for the living to live comfortably, let alone have a space to bury the dead. She removed her mask, telling him that nobody will recognize her there, and asked if there are more slums of that size spreading in the whole empire. Lionel answered that they estimated 10 slums of similar scale and countless of smaller slums. Adelaide then realized that right now, she is walking into hell. She was enraged, asking how could they all turn a blind eye after seeing things in that state, and what have they been doing all this time to let the empire fall into that state? The Empress was furious, asking if all nobles in that empire are idiots. She asked if they think that just because it's not happening to them, means that it's enough for them to simply station soldiers to block the road. She called him Minister of Defense, asking what have he done for them, but Lionel just stayed speechless. Then the Empress apologized for lashing out at him for no reason. Lionel's heart keeps beating fast, telling her that it's all right. He's been wishing for someone to feel rage about it, claiming that the Empress' words and rage are extremely reasonable and he finds it pleasant. He smiled, telling her that he will aid her whatever she wished to do, while thinking that his heart is beating wildly. A man notified the Emperor that the Empress has returned. He immediately rose up after hearing that she returned. Adelaide was surprised that there were maids who greeted her, thinking that it seems that Diana must have left the Ivory Palace. Lady Kix told her that Diana Poitier has left the Ivory Palace and the problem has been resolved. Suddenly, the Emperor showed his face in a hurry, while the Empress is wondering if he's there for Diana's case. He asked where she had been, while she told him that she already answered that question, but he asked if she was with Lionel Valdir. He repeated his question in aggressive tone if she was with Lionel Valdir. She smiled, asking him if it's the case and what he have to do with that, while he answered that of course he did, because she will be the mother of his children, and wondered if she's actually pregnant from Valdir. He asked her what will happen if she gets pregnant by another person. But she just smiled, thinking that he does what he wants while she don't. When he does that, he is romantic, but when she do it, she's a prostitute. She think that this is a discrimination. She wrapped his neck with her ribbon, asking if he can humiliate her like that. She told him not to be cruel to her if he wanted to tame her, rather, try to tempt her with what she liked. And if he can get her, then he can put chains around her neck without even realizing it. The Emperor smiles and agreed to her and told her to have some rest. Then he will be back to see her later. Adelaide was surprised to his reaction, asking what does he want to do, claiming that he is really an unpredictable man. After a while, a merchant dealer went to her palace. Lady Kix notified her that the Emperor has sent her a group of dealers, but she answered that she didn't need anything and asked Lady Kix why does the Emperor angry at her. She asked what is wrong with him. He just made up a budget problem a week ago, wondering if he's messing with her right now. Lady Kix advised her to just spend the money buying golds. She followed the Countess' advice and bought a chest of gold that exceeds the value of the budget that is supposed to be given to her. The Empress read the Emperor's letter and find his gift a sarcasm. He is like saying that he can return her palace budget, but he will not. Back at the Valdir's estate, Lionel was wondering if the Empress arrived safely. Diana Poitier was supposed to have already left the Ivory Palace. Everything is easy according to plan, but why is his heart beating? He asked himself what is happening to him. He opened that door where he usually saw the Empress drinking alcohol, claiming that he lost his mind. He asked himself why did he apply personally when the Empress published an announcement about her search for an assistant. The first time they met, he was fascinated by her aura and he wished to be her lover, but that would lower the status of the Empress. He have to bury his wish, so none knows about it because he will never betray her. Many servants were sent to the Empress Palace. She was confused that he gave her money yesterday and now servants, yet he still hasn't made her a budget. Lady Kix asked what she wants them to do. The Empress ordered her to ask half of them to leave and half of them to stay. Duke d'Esvenel visited Adelaide, telling her that it never occurred to them that she is a powerful magician, and asked when did she want to visit the magic tower. The Empress asked if it wouldn't be strange if she came, since magician in Egmont doesn't get their names unless she obtains a certificate proving her abilities and merit. She also asked if he's going to make her the head of the magician, but the Duke asked why is she trying to join forces with the Valdir Duchy, because it would be better to make him her ally on this bumpy path. He explained that she is a part of the Ulrich family, but Adelaide changed the topic by asking the reason for not destroying the towers. Duke d'Esvenel answered that keeping those towers will make anyone stronger by having that power, and no one will beat her. He added to think it carefully to join his side. The Duke told her that he needs to go and get out the room, but the Empress find it disgusting and she felt that she is out of strength. This caused her to pass out. The Emperor was notified of the Empress passing out. He was surprised that a woman who cannot be pierced by a spear has passed out, and told the servant that he will see her himself. The Emperor was sitting beside the Empress when he noticed she was crying, wondering that this cold woman is crying. He told himself to hold her position only, and if she doesn't like it, he will control her life, and if that doesn't work, he will surround her with restrictions. He will make a space for her, spacious enough so that she will not feel trapped. Lionel heard the news that the Empress passed out, asking if her condition was bad. Suddenly someone told him that a maid from the Empress palace, telling him that the Empress requests to see him. He kneeled on the Empress side, telling her that he was there. Adelaide reached her hand and told him to send someone to Gotrov to bring a person to her. Lionel is the only one she can trust, and he is the only one who can execute her request. She told him that she feels like she's going to die. The Empress asked to bring Kane Knox, Gibelin Lohan, Theodore Siniak, any one of them, but she realized what she's saying and told him not to bring anyone and pretend like he didn't hear anything. She was thinking that they don't have to leave their homeland and their families because of her. The Empress lost her consciousness while Lionel catch her and started worrying. The Emperor witnessed him holding the Empress and asked what is he doing there, while Lady Kix took the Empress, telling the minister that she will take care of her. Lionel answered the Emperor that the Empress requested to see him. The Emperor asks Lady Kix if the really request for Lionel's presence. He come closer to the Empress, asking in his mind if this men also see the Empress when she was at her weakest. At this moment, he have a strong desire to rip his eyeballs out while noticing that he is looking at his Empress. He ordered Lionel Valdir to help him take care of the Empress, since he is the Empress aide. Lionel gave the towel to the Emperor while witnessing how he touch and caress her face, but he has no say about this since the Emperor is the Empress husband. The Emperor ordered him that when the Empress is asleep, he must wait outside her room. Lionel walked outside the Empress room, thinking that when the Empress woke up, she wanted to see him, and not the Emperor. He wanted to tell him in front of his face that the palace is like hell to the Empress. He swore to himself that he would bury his wishes and desires, but now he started to hesitate again, asking what he is supposed to do. A servant reported that they were not able to find out what happened at Valdir's estate, but he explained that the two apparently slept in two different rooms. The Emperor claimed that Lionel Valdir is a thorn stick in his throat. Diana visited the Emperor, but he just walked past her, asking the reason for coming in his office. She's about to tell him when she noticed that there is a girl with blonde hair and blue eyes giving documents to the Emperor, while he praised that she did a good work. Diana remembered Lady Kix telling her how many blonde, blue-eyed girls under the age of 29 were there in the Empire. The Emperor ordered him to get out. If there's nothing she want to say, she inquired about the maid and asked him to give her that maid since she lacks of servants. The Emperor was silent first, but eventually agreed to her. Diana is about to visit the Emperor again, but he walked past her again and didn't give her an ounce of attention. She was shocked that she was just like a ghost to the Emperor. She asked the servant if the Empress asked for the Emperor to see her. But the servant explained that it is the other way around. Diana lose her strength, thinking that the Emperor went to the Empress palace to make sure she woke up. She asked how could he do that to her. The Emperor was mesmerized with the Empress appearance and asked how is she feeling. Adelaide answered that she felt much better, wondering why is he worried about her. He asked if she ever blacked out like that while she were in Gotrov. She answered no and will continue the treatment. He stared at her, thinking that she is beautiful. Her eyes shine like a ray of sunshine. Her hair is black, and she has a royal blood. She was different from his birth mother. They were married and she's his Empress. He thought he hated her at first sight, but he realized that he was wrong. If he wanted to break her, he would do it, but he would never bow to her like that and wouldn't smile like that either. He told her that he's glad to see her and he have to go now. Adelaide was confused, asking herself what's wrong with him. He wanted her to be an empress in name and appearance only, so why the hell was he suddenly acting like that? Lady Kix told her that the emperor's thinking has changed about her, but she answered that she still have to gain strength. A power that is not based on the privileges granted by the emperor, which may disappear at any moment. She wanted her own power and remembered Lionel's suggestion to become an official magician. With that, she will have the right to vote in the Imperial Council. At the Valders estate, Duke Valdir told Lionel that the conditions in the Imperial Palace have improved and the relationship between the Emperor and the Empress has changed, so he have to prepare to resign. Lionel answered that it is not the appropriate time for him to resign because he still need information about the towers, and the Empress also has information she wants from him. His brother was thinking if that is really the only reason he doesn't want to give up being the Empress assistant. Lennox asked if she's really pregnant, while Diana answered that there is a high possibility that she become pregnant. She recently lost her appetite for food and suffer from severe mood swings. She thought that she carry her savior inside her belly. That is the best that can happen to her at this time. Her brother told her that if her child was a boy, they would live happily for the rest of their lives. The Empress went to visit Duke Desvenal as he is the head of the magician. He asked if she comes for what he told her before. She answered that's what she wants, while the Duke told her to get a certificate first. She have to defeat one of the magician of Egmont and suggested defeating Lennox Poitier. The Empress asked what position will she get if she win, reminding him that she is not only good at judging, but also in management. The Duke insisted on taking care of the certification first, because it is unbelievable for her to obtain the position of the head of magicians. No one would dare give orders to the Empress. She told him that whether they admit her or not, she will not have any difficulty obtaining a certificate, but she wondered if she will be able to attend the official meetings. The Duke realized that the official meetings must be what the Empress was after from the beginning. He told her that he will speak to the Emperor about it, while the Empress opened the topic about countless towers in several provinces and asked what is he going to do about it. The Duke explained that he has a plan to make the magicians more powerful. When that day comes, everyone who cannot use magic will fall into the lower class of society. The Empress felt exhausted after talking to the Duke, and there was no doubt that he would risk the lives of many people, and she have to stop him. Currently, in the Imperial Palace of Gotrov, the long-time absent emperor returned to the palace to hold the funeral of one of his ancestors. Emperor Lucio is Adelaide's younger brother. He asked when did his sister left. The maid answered that it was more than a month ago, and gave him a letter from Adelaide. He told her that it's a stupid thing she have done. He asked their mother the reason for sending his sister to Egmont without consulting him, while she explained that it was better for her to be the Empress of Egmont than she marry an aristocratic man from their country. He asked if she threatened her with something. Adelaide always told him she's sorry. When he was 14, she established a headquarters to confront the towers despite the opposition of Empress Dowager. In the end, Adelaide rejected the name of the crowned princess. However, for someone who lived her entire life as successor, for her, it was no different from death. At that time, she had followers and got a hard offer, but she ultimately rejected the proposal. But one of her fanatical followers launched an attack. The blood of Adelaide's followers has been spilled and has become a flowing river. As long as she's still in Gotrov, this will happen again and again. He read the letter telling to forgive her. Adelaide's going to Egmont is a punishment she imposed on herself. Lucio asked his mother if she threatened Adelaide with those, and called Kay Knox to go to Egmont. If she's not happy, and doesn't want to stay there, make sure to return her to Gotrov because he is ready to wage a war for her. Diana told the emperor to come closer and put his hand on her belly, revealing that the doctor told her that their baby is there. She explained that she wasn't well lately, perhaps due to early pregnancy symptoms. She looked at the emperor and was shocked at him looking at her with that expression. He asked if the doctor accurately diagnosed her pregnancy. Diana answered no, but the doctor told her to take care of her health because her symptoms are similar to early pregnancy symptoms. He only answered all right and left Diana alone. She was confused if he's just going to leave like that and hold his arm, asking if he's happy. The emperor only answered sure and to take care of herself. She became lonely and remembered the emperor's biological mother, Lady Beatrice. Even though she gave birth to the son of throne, none acknowledged her like the emperor's mother. As soon as she gave birth to her son, the former empress took him from her. She couldn't even watch her son grow up. Therefore, his feeling towards his mother will not be different from his feeling towards her. Although he has become the emperor, he did not change Lady Beatrice's record. Diana suddenly realized that the emperor doesn't want a child from her. The emperor's doctor told him that the pregnancy is not possible. He have been prescribing the amount of contraceptive for him, and he did not make a single mistake during that period. He is confused to what would the empress say if she heard about it, but he thinks if the situation will change. If this happened, she will find no one by her side but him, and this might be a good opportunity to change the empress' mind. Duke Desvenal has requested the empress to rent the entire ivory palace. The emperor asked his servant if the news of Diana's pregnancy reached the empress palace, while the aide answered yes. He immediately planned to visit the empress, asking himself if she's angry and she will meet him with a cold facial expression. But who could help her in such a situation? The only person who could help her now is him. Adelaide was thinking, why is the emperor looking at her like that, and wondered if he's going crazy. He asked if she already heard the rumors already and clarified it's just a rumor and she didn't need to worry. She asked what did he mean while he come closer to her and kneel in front of her, telling her that his successor will be her son. He asked her to build a good relationship together. The empress was confused, asking herself how does he change that much, and if something happens between him and Diana. He told her to forget about Lionel Valdir and never go anywhere as dangerous as those slums, because a woman of her standing shouldn't go to such places. The empress asked if he have seen how people live there, because this is not something he can turn a blind eye to, but he insisted that one day they will be devoid of such places. She explained that he should get rid of the towers, not the slums. If he destroyed the towers in the capital, no one will have to live in those bad places. He released her hand and asked if Lionel Valdir asked her to say that to him, while Adelaide told him no. They only went to slums and repeated that he must get rid of the towers. The emperor shouted that all the towers are under his control and asked her if the aristocrat would submit to him if the towers didn't exist, while the empress asked how could he use destruction as a means to protect his power. She asked herself if the emperor realized what he was doing, while he told her to stop and be silent, but she insisted the topic and showed him the map where many areas are within the influence of the towers and demonic beasts, calling it a real hell. She explained that if he made risking people's lives a source of power, this will turn against him, while hoping he understands her. The emperor asked if she thinks she will be safe after the towers disappear and asked why is she throwing herself into ruins. He asked if she would offer help to eliminate towers and agreed that the next time another tower comes down, she can go and try to get rid of it. She answered that she is hoping for that, while the emperor is thinking that he will push her into the harsh places where she loved to be. Such words will never come out again from her lips. Meanwhile, at the Gotrav's palace, the Empress Dowager was notified that Emperor Lucio sent Kane Knox, while the Empress Dowager thought that he must have sent a message telling her to come back to Gotrav. She explained that she's calm even though she sent her daughter away because Adelaide is just like her. However, this happened because they do not agree on several important issues. If only she had the same belief as her, she would have become her ally and given her full support. Her heart hurts so much because Adelaide is more suitable for the position of empress than anyone else. The maid asked what happens if the princess go back, but the Empress Dowager explained that won't happen because the imperial advisor administered a deadly poison to her. She would rather die than come back to Gotrov. Diana visited the emperor, notifying him that she will return to the Ivory Palace while thinking that she will never make her child an orphan. She asked him to consider visiting her occasionally and talk to her baby because the child needs a parent's love. Diana begged him not abandon her and the child. He became angry, telling her to stop, because she always telling him not to abandon him, despite his countless pleas for her not to say those words. Diana defended herself that those was all she could say, but the emperor reminded her that his love alone is enough for her. She asked if he have ever shown her any love lately. She asked where is he the day she was driven out of the Ivory Palace. Diana asked why is he suddenly acting cold towards her, but he just pushed her away and put his clothes away that was wet by her tears. He ordered her to leave. After leaving the room, Diana saw a blonde woman with blue eyes again. She called her brother and told him that she saw a blonde maid that has entered the imperial palace again. Diana told him to take care of it because it seems like they keep coming back somehow and they have to show them a real example. Lennox agreed to her while she added to take an opportunity to kill the empress. Meanwhile, at Marquis Vieta estate, a tower is descending. He give orders to evacuate all residents of the southern region and let the capital know that the tower has come down. He hoped that the capital send a team to help them. Duke Desvenal visited the Empress. Adelaide was guessing that he has come to prevent her from joining the Council of Ministers. She asked the Duke when is the next Council of Ministers and told him that she's ready. The Duke answered that he will certify her without a test. Their conversation was stopped when a man reported that a tower has landed in the Marquis of Vieta. This caused the Duke to stand up and told the Empress he have to go there immediately. The Empress was thinking that he ignored Count Calvin. Then here he comes running to help the Marquis of Vieta. The man told the Duke that the Emperor conveys an order to the Empress which lead to the Duke's confusion. The Empress then told the Duke that it's an order to deal with the tower while the servant told them that the Emperor ordered to send the Empress to the battlefield herself. Duke Desvenal was shocked, asking how could the Emperor send the Empress to the depths of that hell, while Adelaide told him that she's fine with it. The battalion that had been ordered to gut out the province of Marquis Vieta had assembled. It appeared as if the Egmont's elite group had been fully mobilized. It was in stark contrast to Lord Calvin's request, which was rejected. Duke Desvenal keep on telling the Empress that it won't be easy for her, but she insisted not to worry about her. Lionel showed her the barrack that she will stay in and ordered the knights to guard the Empress tent. Meanwhile, Lennox ordered a servant to deliver a document in the province of Viscount Royne, and it has to be done before midnight tomorrow. He smiled that he was given the opportunity earlier than expected. Before they reach the province of Marquis Vieta, the Empress will be dead, and all the responsibility will fall on Lionel Valdir. On the other hand, at Grand Duchess territory, refugees are constantly flocking. Her territory is now saturated and there is no longer property to shelter them. Elizabeth was thinking that she doesn't want to bear the weight of the throne, but greedy enough to want the power to surpass the emperor. The one who plays the role of the puppet of that bastard is none other than her brother. She notified her servant that she will go to the capital immediately to meet the Empress. Adelaide woke up finding that something seems to have bound her limbs, rendering her powerless. The force pressing down on her entire body, preventing her from even moving a finger, is magic. She looked at the way where a man stepped inside her tent while holding a dagger ready to stab her. He saw that she was awake and needed to act quickly, but the Empress already made a barrier that will shield it from the assassin. She grabbed his neck, telling him that if they wanted her dead, they should have prepared a more skilled magician, and ordered him to speak who ordered him. The man became dead after drinking the poison bag in his mouth. The Empress was thinking that there's an accomplice among the magicians who came with them. She went outside her tent to consult Lionel about it, but hesitated after looking at him sleeping peacefully. She tapped his shoulder and called his name, but to her surprise, Lionel pinned her down while thinking if he's dreaming because she's not supposed to be there. He thought that if it's really a dream, then he will just stay like that and tilt his head towards her, but the Empress called his name to stop him. He woke up to his senses, asking why is the Empress doing in his tent, while Adelaide told him to let her go first and apologized for her sudden appearance there. He apologized, asking himself what did he just done, and asked the Empress if something happens to her. Adelaide told him that someone sent an assassin to kill her, but when they returned to her tent, the body of the man disappeared and only blood spot left. It looks like someone tried to get rid of the evidence by removing the body. She explained that the man was sure he could kill her. The only outstanding magician capable of attempting to assassinate the Empress is the Duke d'Esvenel, or Lennox Poitiers. Lionel revealed that the Duke d'Esvenel would not have moved recklessly, and this could be Lennox Poitiers' doing. He apologized for failing to properly guard her, and told her that even if they can't reveal that Lennox is behind that, he will let everyone know that there was an assassination attempt. That way, they won't be able to act recklessly again. The Empress was worried that if he do that, they will hold him responsible and say he didn't protect her properly, and ordered him not to let anyone know. There are few people within the radius of her magic who can harm her, and they won't be able to move recklessly, and told him to go and rest. Lionel insisted to stay and protect her. Lennox find it quiet outside and think that they don't plan on telling anyone. He claimed that it's fortunate that the assassin committed suicide in time. He is the best magician in Egmont, but the Empress stopped his magic. She has both abilities of a striker and a top-level defender, and it is very dangerous for him and planned to get rid of her fast. A woman was wondering why the security around the Empress has been strengthened, and thought that the Duke must have done something. She is Alexa Brunhill and ranks the second among the powerful magicians. She believes that magicians should be distributed throughout the empire to protect the people. She gathered a battalions of magicians who are against the Duke, and was looking for a way to use the information she had gathered, until the Empress showed up. She's sure it's the Empress who will get them out of that hellhole. Duke d'Esvenel was looking at the map where the black point is where the tower is currently located, while the red is the place where the tower will descend. On the day the tower descends in all the marked places, he will be able to use the magic throughout the empire, and he's going to be the best wizard. Duke d'Esvenel was using this to artificially adjust the location of the tower. The location and power of the tower will affect the other existing towers and the one that will be built in the future. He presumed that the next tower will descend in the capital city, and it made him glad. If a tower is built in the capital, it will be possible for him to use magic in the capital. The Marquis of Vieta had witnessed how the monsters ate his knights, making them demotivated and afraid. He told them that magicians are coming from the capital. They just need to hold out a little bit longer. A wyvern suddenly showed, which made all the knights to be more afraid, while the Marquis was hoping for a miracle to happen. A strong magic struck the wyvern, causing it to die. The Marquis was glad that the wizards came in the right time, but he was speechless to saw a woman asking if he's the Marquis Vieta. He answered yes, and asked her the same question. Adelaide introduced herself as Adelaide Egmont. The Marquis then realized she was the Empress. The knights were glad that reinforcements from the capital had arrived, while Alexa asked the Duke if it's alright for them to be a baggage like that. The Duke ordered her to shut up. They will move as always in the shadows. More monsters and wyverns came outside the tower, while the magicians led by Duke d'Esvenel was only watching and not doing anything. The empress asked the duke why is he not doing something. Not a single mage is supporting the knights. The duke told her that they have their own part. The knights are clearing the path to the tower, and they are the ones who will destroy it. Adelaide argued how can he say that the knights are just clearing the path, while the duke told her that Egmont has its own way of doing things. The empress looked at the knights dying, shouted at the duke telling him that he never once made a sincere effort to destroy the tower and the demons. She told him to watch closely the best way for mages and knights to fight together. She rode off the horse and ordered Lionel that while she's holding off the demons, kill those monsters and clear the path for the mages. Adelaide stabbed her sword on the ground. Using that method will make it difficult to control her body for a while. She can no longer stand by and watch innocent lives die, and in order to build the strength to oppose the emperor, she must definitely succeed this time. The duke was surprised that she's sucking up magic power. This made the monster's movements to stop. Lionel told his knights that the empress is holding back the monsters, and they should take the opportunity to strike down monsters and clear the path. Alexa was shocked that the path to the tower opened in an instant. The Duke and Lennox started to attack the tower and destroyed it in an instant. The empress was shaking while apologizing that she wanted to save everyone if she had just moved a little sooner, and started coughing blood. Lionel was shocked, worried and become nervous. He asked Duke Despinal what should he do, while Alexa told him that she will take care of it and will escort him to the Marquis Castle. The knights were all worried, asking if the empress will be alright as she coughed up so much blood. They thanked her that they survived because of her. The Duke was silent, thinking that this wasn't supposed to happen and didn't know this would happen. Lionel asked if the empress will going to be okay, while Alexa hoped that the internal injuries are not too severe, telling him to go out first so she can start the treatment. The Marquis Vieta told Lionel to rest already, but he insisted that he will stay and guard the empress. The Marquis thought that Lionel was forced by his family to become the empress aide, but witnessed that it is different from what he thought. Duke Despinal was cursing, thinking that starting from that incident, the knight will side with the empress without any hesitation. Even numerous noble families who were once afraid and silent will now align themselves with the empress and Lionel. He called for Lennox and ordered him to kill the empress. He ordered him to send someone from the slums. The empress may be the most skilled mage in the land, but she's down with internal injuries, and she can't use magic since the tower is gone. A skilled assassin will not fail. Lennox agreed, however. He's worried that the empress and Lionel will be preparing for another attempt. The Duke told Lennox that he will make it look like that the empress died from after effects of her internal injuries. A maid noticed that there is a smell of blood and find a woman telling her that she will look just like the head maid if she scream. The assassin asked the location of the empress, while she accompanied her to the empress bedroom. Lionel was thinking where is the head maid and saw a woman that he never seen before. He asked the maid about her expression that doesn't look good. The maid told him it's nothing and proceed to enter the room. Lionel didn't leave them, asking if everything is okay. While the maid told him not to worry, he noticed that her hands were shaking. The other maid told him to wait outside while she changed the empress bedding. Lionel went outside while finding her suspicious. The maid prepared a drug that will make the empress have a high fever and die slowly. No one will suspect that the empress was assassinated. Lionel asked Henry if he located the head maid. Then another knight reported that they found the head maid's body. He immediately opened the empress room and found the maid starting to feed the empress poison. The knights immediately run towards her, while the maid confessed that she killed the head maid. The assassin jumped off the window, but was immediately cornered by the knights. Lionel subdued her, asking who is her backer and who hired her. The assassin knew that she will suffer a fate worse than death when she's captured, and started swallowing a poison. The Marquis and Marchioness run towards Lionel, asking if someone tried to assassinate the empress, while Duke Desvenal calm, shouting asking who dare attempt to assassinate the Empress. He asked that the assassin's outfit is the Marquis maid's uniform, asking that the maid of Marquis Vieta tried to assassinate the Empress. Lionel told him that she is not of them, while the Marchioness swore that they didn't do it. The Duke told Lionel that he can't let this matter go easily, while thinking he must not let Valdir dig too deeply into the case. The Marquis explained that they did even know that the Empress was coming and asked what possible benefit could they gain by assassinating the Empress. Duke Desvenal told him to be quiet while telling Lionel to hand over the investigation to him immediately. The Minister of Defense told him to stop telling the Duke that it's his duty to interrogate the people and uncover the mastermind. Duke Desvenal run asking Lennox for failing to properly handle just one unconscious woman. Lennox explained that Lionel Valdir had made the security extremely tight. The Duke asked if Diana asked him to kill the Empress, while Lennox told him that Diana is pregnant. There's no reason for her to risk her life to do such a thing. The Duke warned him the moment he prioritized Diana's orders, that means he betrayed him. Lennox bowed, telling him that he will never betray him. Lionel was looking at the Empress thinking if he should quit being her aide. He took a handkerchief to wipe her sweat and remembered the Emperor wipe her with his handkerchief. Just because he's the Emperor doesn't mean he is worthy of being by her side. The Empress woke up and asked what happened when she was resting. Lionel told her that there was an assassination attempt, but this time it's suspected that the Duke Desvenal is behind it. She asked if the assassin was captured. He answered that they couldn't prevent them from taking their own life. If the Duke Desvenal is truly behind it, it will be difficult to find solid evidence, but she thanked him for preventing the assassination as a great help to her. Diana visited the Emperor telling him that she couldn't sleep and suggested sleeping by his side. The Emperor didn't answer and told Diana to leave him alone. She was contemplating how did the Empress win the Emperor's love, and asked if it isn't this while looking at the Emperor birth mother picture. She saw a woman with blonde hair and blue eyes and remembered what Lady Kix told her about how many young women with blue eyes and golden hair under the age of 29 must there be. She then asked if he will now leave her and find another woman, but she won't let that happen and she won't die at 29. Diana ordered Lorraine to bring that woman to the Ivory Palace without anyone knowing. The woman was tied on a chair while asking what did she do wrong and will fix it if they tell her. Diana showed herself and started slapping her and ordered her to call her my lady. Lady Kix notified the Emperor to save a pitiful maid and explained that she was taken to the Ivory Palace and imprisoned her. He asked if she can take responsibility if she find nothing after visiting the Ivory Palace. Lady Kix answered yes, while the Emperor told her to lead the way. Diana cut the maid's hair and warned her that right now, it's just her hair, but next time she will cut her neck. Her maid notified her that the Emperor is on the way to her room. She ordered Lorraine to quickly turn off the lamps and pretended to be sleeping. The Emperor asked if Diana is asleep and ordered to bring a lamp and find out pieces of olden hair on the ground. She rose up asking the reason for coming at that hour. She was surprised to see Lady Kix and cursed her in her thought. The Emperor asked if she knows where's the palace maid that has disappeared. She answered that she didn't know about that because she's been sleeping all along. He asked why is she not wearing her nightgown and slippers, and asked the long blonde hair he found on the ground. Diana asked what he's thinking and why is he doing that to her and pleaded to believe her. He told her that he remembered telling her that one day he could take back all the power he gave her, and he also knows that she's been doing those behind his back using that power, but he won't let that happen again. The Grand Duchess visited the Valdir estate and welcomed by the Duke of Valdir. He looked at her golden curly hair, confident face and arrogant relaxed smile. Whether it's the day she filed for divorce or the day she left the house because of it, that's the kind of woman she is. Elizabeth told him that she can't keep seeing this situation like this any longer. Even though she tried her best, but because the root of the problem hasn't been solved, the bad cycle continues. She revealed that she's truly ashamed, so she left even and ran away. She was thinking that even seeing a strand of Carl and Duke Desvonal's hair is something incurable. She explained that now, there's no more place to run, while Duke Valdir asked if she won't run away anymore. Elizabeth explained that when she ran away, there's no place to run away to that country. Duke Valdir thought that whether marrying him or divorcing him, both might be forms of escape, because she doesn't want to confront or fight Carl, as if she's trying to maintain an invisible line in her own wa, and he always hopes she will cross that line. The Duke asked if that means she have to face the Emperor directly. She answered that it's the better way. Duke Desvenal explained that the magician destroyed the tower while the Emperor was concerned about the assassination attempt to the Empress. He asked if he have any idea who's responsible for it. The Duke told him that he almost got into trouble and explained that Lionel Valdir didn't leave the Empress' bedroom even for a moment. The Empress shocked to hear that Lionel stayed at the Empress' bedroom all night. Adelaide asked the reason for coming at her room late at night, while the Emperor kneeled and asked if she entrust her heart to Lionel Valdir. The Empress asked why he's asking and if he's curious, but the Emperor told her that he will send Diana out of the palace. Adelaide stated that she have no interest in his affairs, whether he send her out or take her with him. She told him that if he wanted to win her heart, he shouldn't come like that without notice or manners. He should find out what kind of person she is and what she likes. The Emperor asked what's the thing she likes, while she answered that like a feather attached to a pen, she can't live fluttering, and asked him to go back since she was about to rest. Duke Valdir asked Lionel if being an Empress ain't a difficult task. He answered that it's okay and explained that the Empress is someone who clearly distinguishes between official and personal matter. His brother revealed that the Grand Duchess came to their estate, explaining that Elizabeth agreed to be their focal point, and soon the Empress will join. The two will be their main pillars. Duke Valdir told Lionel that the Empress and them had achieved their goals, and asked him to resign from his position as her aide. Lionel was speechless, thinking that it was the only thread that could tie him to the Empress, while his brother told him that he harbored feelings that should not be embraced. Duke Valdir explained that he will get hurt in the long run, but Lionel cleared that he misunderstood his relationship with the Empress. Duke Valdir didn't believe him, telling him that a heart that harbors feelings will somehow leak out and show itself. He witnessed how he looked at her as if the Empress is the only light in the world. Lionel was speechless and remained silent. He get out the room while feeling lost and frustrated. He recalled her, defenselessly gazing up at him, trapped in his arms. With his emotions so vividly clear, how could he have thought that just ignoring it would be enough? He concluded that it is not admiration, respect, nor awe, but adoration, something he dared to harbor feelings for her. Grand Duchess Elizabeth visited the Empress to ask her to destroy the tower together with her. She stated that she is a legitimate daughter of the former emperor who married the Duke of Valdir, although they have been divorced for a long time. Her goal is to correct politics but cutting the power of Duke Desvenal, who was controlling the emperor. Adelaide asked that she suddenly changed her mind and came to her directly, while Elizabeth told her that she thought she could run away, but it seems not, and she realized there is no place to retreat. The Empress agreed to her and gladly told her to destroy the tower together. The Emperor interrogated Count Poitiers if he tried to assassinate the Queen, but he just remained silent, remembering Duke Desvenal's statement that he will take care of it by himself. The Emperor told him that apparently, he is the provocateur of the assassination attempt. Lennox kneeled, telling the Emperor to believe him that he's not the one. The Emperor then asked if it's not him, then it's definitely Duke Desvenal's doing. To think that there are only two people who want the Empress dead, Duke Desvenal or Diana Poitiers. He grabbed Lennox's face, warning him that the Empress is him, so don't even try to touch what's his possession. Lennox nervously answered yes to the Emperor. The council meeting started when Duke Desvenal reported that his magicians have successfully destroyed the tower, but the Grand Duchess reminded him to also discuss any achievements that the Empress has made. The Duke included the Empress telling them that she and the knights has helped, but they can't equate it with the magicians who successfully destroyed level 2 tower with one attack. The Minister of Defense argued that the minimal number of injured knights is due to the Empress power, and resulted for the magicians to quickly destroy the tower. He added that the Empress understands more magic about the tower and what is unknown to the Egmont magicians. Lennox argued, asking if he is underestimating the Egmont magicians, but the Emperor ordered him to stop and asked Lionel what is his main point. Lionel stand up to call upon the Empress to join the important council meeting. The Emperor become angry, asking himself how dare he, but there were more nobles who stand up and agreed to the Minister of Defense, making the Emperor wonder how many nobles were supporting Valdir and the Empress. Duke Valdir went to the Empress to speak with her privately. He asked if the position of the Empress aide is forever. There will come a time when she no longer needs an assistant. Even though Lionel is no longer in the position of an assistant, the Valdir family will continue to be on her side. The Duke bowed, asking as Lionel's older brother to protect his brother's dignity. The Empress remembered the time where Lionel expressed himself like that, asking herself what would happen if she didn't alert him by calling his name. She asked why every time she glanced, their eyes always meet, and why every time she remember him, her heart races. Lionel visited the Empress asking if there's a problem, while she answered that there's none, and explained that the Grand Duchess and the Duke Valdir came to her. They mentioned that she could attend the next important meeting. He told her that he will prepare the necessary data. Adelaide asked why has he been smiling all those time, while he answered that she mentioned that she didn't like it when he has a serious face. She asked herself why is he always like that. What Duke Valdir said is true. Keeping Lionel by her side could be her selfishness. The Empress told him that she already have the support as promised by Duke Valdir and the Grand Duchess, so she no longer have an excuse to continue letting him as her aide. She explained that she's thinking of not continuing that anymore, and it's the right time he stopped being her assistant. Lionel was shocked to hear those words, asking why suddenly, but the Empress explained that if he released the position as an assistant after their goals are achieved, then the weight of his lost honor will be reduced even more. He gritted his teeth, telling himself that as long as he can stay by her side, he can give up that honor any time. He asked that she haven't achieved her goals with all the nobles. He added about the slum settlement, and now that it's time to handle it seriously, he will stand by her side a little longer. When all the noble goals have been achieved, then he will step down from his position as her aide. Adelaide was speechless and just looked at him, while Lionel took her reaction that she given him permission to stay. Lionel can't believe he was shaken just because of the words of the Empress. He can't let her know about his feeling. He has to act as if it's not affection, but his strength. He now concluded that it seems the time has come, and went to his brother's office for a private meeting. He told Duke Valdir that he wanted to receive the Marquis title that has been pending for so long. His brother asked the reason for wanting to accept the title that he's been rejecting. Lionel explained that with that, he won't step back from his position as the Empress aide. This made Duke Valdir angry, telling him to wake up. He asked if he thinks that position is forever. He answered that he already knew, while the Duke asked him why suddenly. He explained to him that they will continue to support the Empress, and asked if the Empress was holding him back. Lionel answered that the Empress never hold him back, and told him not to worry because he's walking his own path. He won't do things that lead to destruction, or play the fire that could burn him. According to the law, a Duke of Egmont can pass on titles and territories to their blood relatives without the Emperor's permission. Duke Valdir formally bestowed the title of Marquis and the Herbert territory upon Lionel. At the council meeting, the Empress inquired about the situation in Count Calvin. Lionel reported that the tower in Count Calvin was evaluated as medium to large scale with its level at 3, and there's also the appearance of gargoyles. Lennox told him that it's hard to be sure if he's not an experienced magician, but Elizabeth told him to stop being hard-headed. The Empress stand up telling them that there were slums scattered throughout the capital, and the only way to eliminate slums is to destroy all the towers that exist. The Emperor asked himself if it's necessary for her to act like that, while Lionel agreed to what the Empress stated. The Emperor told them to stop as the towers will be destroyed in turn, but Duke Valdir argued that it's in fact not true. If it's supposed to be in turn, then why did they leave the tower in Count Calvin while the tower in Marquis Vieta was destroyed? Duke Desvenal explained that the tower in Vieta is larger, but Duke Valdir asked if there's a secret standard for tower destruction they don't know about. Duke Desvenal told him not to speak nonsense in front of the Emperor, while Elizabeth explained to the Emperor that the only way is to destroy the tower quickly and clearly. She asked if there won't be any problem if they still handle the towers like that. The Emperor asked her if she's questioning his method, while she answered yes. Duke Desvenal ordered Elizabeth to shut up, but she told him to stop hiding behind the Emperor and prove his worth. The Emperor became angry, telling them as disrespectful for displaying his mistake in front of everyone at an important meeting. But the Empress shouted, telling him that she's not disrespecting her, asking him that it's his duty to properly govern the country. Adelaide explained to them that she can destroy all the towers within a period of 2 years. The nobles were asking if it's possible to destroy those in just 2 years, while the Emperor asked if she can back up her words. She explained that she used to be the founder and general manager of the Gottrov Tower Destruction Headquarters, and told the Emperor to hand the role to her. The Marquis Herbert fully agreed with her. The Grand Duchess, as well as the Duke Valdir, also give their support to the Empress. The conversation was interfered when a servant handed a document to the Emperor, stating that the Count Calvin has expressed his intention to hand over his territory to the Emperor completely. The Empress was surprised when he had hoped Count Calvin would hold on a little longer. The Emperor asked for the Duke's opinion if they actively destroyed the towers, but the Duke disagreed strongly, explaining the reason why he hesitated to let the Empress destroy towers. They need the towers to make nobles submit to him. The Duke told him that he's been doing well all along. The problem lies with the Empress. He suggested to kill the Empress. The Emperor disagreed to his plan, while the Duke explained that everyone gathered to the Empress because of her magic ability and the power of Elizabeth behind her. If they can destroy the Empress, they will surely fall like the sandcastle, but the Emperor told him to let him find a solution. Duke Desvenal told him that there's no other way to stop the Empress except through his way, but the Emperor reminded him that if he touched that woman, whoever he is, he will not remain silent. The Duke answered that he understands, but he shouldn't take too long. The Empress was notified that Baroness Alexa requested a private audience with her. She asked the reason for a second-rank magician to privately meet with her. Alexa asked if the Empress if she's really going to destroy all the towers in Egmont, even if he have to face the Duke Desvenal. The Empress asked what she's trying to say, while Alexa told her that she has something to show her first. The Empress asked if those are the location where the upper-level towers are intentionally built. Alexa agreed, explaining when upper-level towers are built, the lower-level towers around them naturally disappear. The Empress asked what the main motive behind those action. Alexa explained that Duke Desvenal wants Class 1 towers built in the locations she marked. If that happens, the entire empire will be within the magic power radius. Adelaide was shocked, asking if he's going to unleash monsters into the country just to be able to use magic freely. If the Duke's wish is fulfilled, he will control the magicians and make them dominate over the Emperor. She asked if she can trust Alexa since she's a notable member of magicians' forces. Alexa explained that she can't let Duke Despinal act as he pleases and act arbitrarily again, and told the Empress that they must stop what the Duke is trying to do. The Empress asked if there are other magicians who want to stop the plan. Alexa revealed that there are, and she's been gathering data for a long time. The Empress called her ally and explained that the Egmont Empire must be reformed, and to do so, Duke Despinal must first resign from politics. She explained what Alexa told him about the plan of Duke Despinal, while Lionel concluded that the Duke wanted to gain the highest position in the Empire. Elizabeth was furious, calling Duke Despinal as a crazy person, while Duke Valdir asked if the Emperor knew about that. The Empress told them that the Emperor once told her that the tower is the power base to defend his rule. Marquis Herbert asked if there's any data that can prove that, while Adelaide revealed that Baroness Alexa has agreed to gather it for her. They plan to reveal it after the national celebration banquet ends. Diana visited the Empress while the Empress was worried that her body looks thinner. Diana was thinking if the Empress is jealous because she has something that she doesn't. She apologized that she can't help with the preparations because she's pregnant. Adelaide told her that it's fine and asked for the reason of her visit. Diana answered that she's pregnant, which makes her unable to stand for long, therefore, she wants her to prepare a seat for her. She was thinking that the Empress will surely become furious to hear her request, but she was surprised to see that the Empress' reaction is flat. The Empress showed her the seating chart and have reserved a seat for her already. Diana feel uncomfortable and defeated. She is about to get out the room when Adelaide stated that her body is thin and inquired if her nausea is getting worse. She also told her to talk to Lady Kix if there's any kind of food that makes her nauseous. Diana become teary, asking herself how can she be worried about her, when not even the Emperor does it. She thinks that the Empress is not in her right mind, and there's something strange with her. Elizabeth was thinking of persuading the Emperor as his elder sister. The Emperor asked the reason for visiting him and asking for an audience. She straightforwardly told him that she come as elder sibling to tell him something. Even without the towers, he will still be recognized as the Emperor. His power will remain even without the presence of towers. The Emperor told her that she's lying, and he doesn't want to hear it even if she acts like his elder. The previous Empress said that no one would acknowledge him, but Elizabeth argued that the former Empress is wrong. The Emperor asked why it's only now, after just watching everything for so long, and told her that he have done his best, just like with the towers. This made Elizabeth realize that she really left him for so long, and didn't know what to say. The Emperor was thinking that he can't let all the towers to be destroyed, might have to find a way to stop it without hurting the Empress. At the day of Egmont national celebration, the Emperor accompanied Diana Poitiers, while the Empress was escorted by Marquis Lionel Herbert. A servant notified Adelaide that she was ordered to meet the Emperor in a quieter place, while Lionel was worried about her. The woman heading towards the Emperor, he can't stop her at all, nor he can hold her back. He asked him how long will he just keep seeing her back as she walks away. The Empress asked the reason for calling her on the way to the terrace. The Emperor asked if she thinks she will be the one in power if she succeeded in defeating Duke Despinal. He added if she thinks all the nobles will bow their heads and offer their loyalty to her. The Emperor told her that she's just a puppet moving in Egmont, no matter how much influence she have in Gottrov. She is the Empress of the Egmont for only one reason, and that is her relationship with him, and what she's doing now is cutting that link with her own hands. Adelaide asked if he thinks she wanted to destroy the tower for gaining power, but the Emperor warned her to officially withdraw her statement that she can destroy the towers within 2 years. She answered that she can't do that, but the Emperor told her that she's arrogant who always tried to impose her own opinion. Adelaide argued with him, telling him that if he actively destroyed the towers, the nobles will respect him more than they now. He stopped her, telling that she always neglect her most important duties as empress, and warned her that she's the one who refused and neglect her duties. He asked himself if Adelaide can still refuse him if she's no longer an empress. The emperor called the high priest and revealed to him that he will dismiss the empress from her throne. The high priest was shocked, thinking if he really have the intention to do that, while Duke Desvenal told the emperor that if there's no logical reason for the dismissal, the reaction of the nobles will be very bad. The emperor explained that there is a reason, and that is she refused to spend the night with him. The duke was surprised to hear the revelation and told the emperor that is a big problem that can be ignored. He asked to have a session that must be convened and it must be implemented before nightfall. The emperor thinks that Adelaide is the one who caused that, and ordered to convene the session immediately, but he will hold a closed session to preserve the honor of the empress. The duke was glad that the empress will be overthrown. The emperor asked if the high priest understand what he told him, while the high priest asked if he's talking about reinstating the empress. He explained that refusing to spend the first night can be sufficient reason for dismissal, but that doesn't make her guilty. The emperor concluded that if the empress promises to fulfill all her duties again, she can regain her position as empress. The nobles were surprised to see judges of the imperial court, while they approached the empress, telling her that the emperor has requested an immediate trial for the empress. Adelaide was shocked to hear those words, while the nobles was confused that the emperor is planning to sue the empress. Lionel asked what trial they're talking about. Without notification, the judges explained that the emperor stated that the judicial proceedings will be unofficial. This is an internal process and an urgent trial within the royal family of Ulrich, therefore, separate notification is not required. He added that the Grand Duchess was summoned as a witness, while the empress asked if she's being accused of something, and told them to take her and lead the way to the session. Lionel grabbed her arm, telling her that he will go with her, but the empress told him that she will be back soon. Lionel thought that she is that kind of person. The burden she carries is very heavy, but she will never share it with anyone else, but he want at least to be by her side. He told his brother to gather the aristocrats, asking if they should just stay put. All citizens of Egmont are judged by laws of the country, but the Ulrich imperial family was an exception. The trial takes place in a hall located within the palace. The judges asked the empress to take her seat, but she told them that she's not a criminal, so she will not sit in that place. Duke Desvenal told her that he heard some unfavorable things about her. It was him who insisted on holding an urgent trial, and she shouldn't have acted like that. The Grand Duchess told him to behave himself as she is the empress, while the emperor silenced them so that can start the trial. The judge stated that the trial is requested by the Emperor Karl Ulrich Egmont, and the Empress Adelaide Ulrich Egmont is accused of failing to fulfill marital obligations. The Archbishop who was at their wedding is present. Elizabeth asked how can they speak of failure to fulfill the Empress obligations. She destroyed a tower for her people. She more than anyone fulfills her duty as Empress. The Duke told her that destroying tower is a matter for magicians, and concern for the poor can be handled by the Emperor. The judge explained that the reason for the Empress trial is for refusing the wedding night. This made Adelaide cursed him in her mind, while the Emperor was thinking that he sent her to hell, and he is the only one who can pull her out of there. They summoned Countess Hannah Kix as the Empress assistant. The judge asked her if the Empress ever refused the Emperor's request to stay for the night. Hannah Kix answered that the Emperor is the one who refused to stay for the night on the wedding day. The judges shouted, telling her to just answer the question if the Empress rejected the Emperor's request for a wedding night. Adelaide closed her eyes, thinking that it's very, very hard. The tower, people dying of demonic beasts, the poor in pitiful conditions, her heart, which wanted to save them. She's so tired and wanted to stop right now. The Empress stopped Lady Kix, while the Countess started crying and worried about her. While the Emperor was thinking that it's done, her strength has waned. Finally, her wings are broken. He was expecting Adelaide to cast away her dignity and come to him. The Empress admit everything. There's no way she could have spent the first bridal night with the Emperor. This made the Emperor shocked as he is not expecting it, while the judge asked if she admit the basis for the accusation. She answered that she admit everything. The Duke was glad and told her that she must be dethroned. Elizabeth told the Archbishop that it is impossible, but the High Priest explained that since the Empress herself admitted, she can be dethroned. The Empress smirked, asking herself that she will be dethroned from the throne, while the Emperor told her to admit her guilt and promised to amend her ways, then he can give her a chance, while thinking that something went wrong, that situation needs to be sorted out. But the Empress answered that she will not. The Emperor was dumbfounded and asked what. She related that she's saying she won't do it and ordered the judge to pronounce her sentence. This made the Emperor stop Adelaide not to say it, while the Duke d'Espinal was very happy. The judge pronounced that the Empress Adelaide Ulrich Egmont is declared deposed from the position as Empress. The Duke sealed a letter to send to Gottrov Empire declaring that the Empress was overthrown, but the Emperor ordered someone to board the ship with the envoys and kill them before they reach Gottrov. He wanted the news of the Empress overthrown not to reach Gottrov. He remembered Adelaide telling him that she will not do it. He asked why everything turned out that way. It was obviously done to push her into the abyss, but why he is the one fighting in that abyss, not her. Although the decision of the court the Empress was deposed, Adelaide was not a criminal. As a token of respect to the princess of another country, it was decided to allow her to remain in the imperial palace until her people from Gottrov arrived. Lady Kix told her she must be tired and should rest, while she told her not to cry. The Grand Duchess visited her and asked why didn't she denied it, because if she had, they have been able to find another way. But Adelaide answered that she didn't want to do it anymore and apologized to her. She gave the documents which consist of the evidence of the Duke d'Espinal's plan and asked not to reveal the informant's name. Elizabeth asked the reason while she answered that the burden is too heavy for her to carry and wanted it to let go. She asked the reason for accepting an international marriage that seemed like exile. Adelaide answered that it was her loyalty to Gottrov and also her apology. This made Elizabeth cry, asking if she ever lived for herself at any moment of her life. The Emperor went to visit Adelaide, but Lady Kix shielded her, telling him that she's still the princess of Gottrov. He ordered Hannah Kix to get out of the way and ordered a maid to get Lady Kix out of the room. The Emperor called Adelaide's name, telling her to look at him, but she told him not to speak her name. He kneeled, asking if she doesn't understand why he had to do that. He started crying, telling her that he loved her, and explained that it was out of love that he did that, so she could be with him. Adelaide asked if he's calling that love. She shouted not to even talk to her about love, but he told her that he regretted hurting and offending her. He told her that he was honest with her and tried to reach out to her, but she rejected all his advances, and blamed her that it was her that made him resort to that. Adelaide reminded him that he's the one who told her to stay quiet and not interfere. She admitted that she failed her duties as Empress and willingly relinquished her title. So they have no reason to talk anymore and pleaded him to leave her alone. The Emperor asked if she thinks she can handle the humiliation of losing her title, because she's not that kind of person. He told her that he will give her plenty of time, so she need to think carefully. If she promised to fulfill her duties as Empress, he will pretend like the overthrown never happened. Adelaide felt that she have no strength, remembering Elizabeth to live for herself. She looked at her hand and remembered that destroying the tower and saving innocent civilians is what her life was. Even if she could go back in time, she would live it the same way. She remembered the Emperor telling that he loves her. She asked how can his selfishness be called love. Then Lionel's face flashed in her mind, asking why does his voice and dark blue eyes come to her mind at a moment like that. She was convinced that she deserved to be overthrown, and took a box with 2 bottles of poison inside, thinking that she now have no place there or in Gotrov, only death remains. Now, she have nothing to lose. The Grand Duchess went to the Valdir estate while Lionel asked what's the reason for the Empress overthrown. She answered that it was hard to deny the reason and explained that the reason for overthrown is the absence of the wedding night. Duke Valdir asked about the Empress while Elizabeth explained that she wanted to stop. She reached the documents enough to accuse Duke Despinal and the Emperor, while Duke Valdir told her that the magicians are still in the Duke's hands. Lionel suggested to spread the information before raising the issue in the Council of Ministers. Elizabeth agreed that it would be good to inform the entire empire while thinking that she will not run away and it's her time to fulfill her duty as a princess. Lionel asked if she's sincere in her words. He asked what will she do if Duke Despinal denies it. She understands that he is asking if she's ready to overthrow the emperor, and answered that a man who only pushes the empire to hell should not sit on the throne. Marquis Herbert hurriedly went to the Empress Palace even though the emperor prohibited anyone to enter the Empress Palace. Adelaide was surprised to see him and asked for forgiveness that if she had known that would happen, she would have long since dismissed him from his position as her assistant. Lionel didn't answer, but was only looking at her thinking if she's alright and if it's very difficult for her. Adelaide, on the other hand, was thinking the reason she couldn't drink the poison were not about her homeland, but about him, the man who fearlessly reached out to her when she was falling. She only thought about that man. Lionel noticed a bottle of medicine on the table. He was surprised and took it immediately while Adelaide stopped him and ordered him to give it to her. He asked what is that, while she answered that it was a remedy for exhaustion. Lionel then realized and understood what is the bottle for and asked if he can drink it. He is about to drink the medicine when Adelaide shouted and slapped the medicine out of his hand. She was scared he would drink it and came back to her senses, but Lionel grabbed her shoulder and hugged her tightly to his arms. Warmth envelopes her entire body, a powerful force which seemed about to break her, and realized that she's just cold. Lionel asked if she wanted to commit suicide, but she answered it was impossible. Every time exhaustion and difficult moment comes, she thinks that if she had let her brother die that day, she wouldn't have had to do that. He asked why couldn't she drink it and asked if among all people that she was worried about, is he one of them? If that is the life she were planning to discard anyway, couldn't she have given it to him? At Diana's palace, she asked the midwife the reason of her stomach ache and if everything is okay with her baby. The midwife told her that it wasn't a stomach ache, but a menstruation. Diana was shocked to hear it and angrily asked how can that be because she's pregnant. She grabbed the midwife telling her not to lie because she felt the baby moving. Lennox heard their conversation and asked Diana that weren't she pregnant. He asked for explanation while the midwife told him that Diana may have misunderstood and sometimes these things happens. The siblings were both shocked to hear the truth coming from the midwife. Lennox secretly asked another midwife to examine Diana, but there were no changes in the results. He became furious, telling himself that his sister is such a fool. He ordered to eliminate the first midwife and to get a newborn that has blonde hair. He gritted his teeth, telling himself that he will never let go of this thread of hope that he barely grasped. Back at the Empress Palace, Adelaide ordered Lionel to stand up, telling him that she's no longer the Empress, and asked him to leave. Lionel insisted to look at him and asked what she wanted to do without paying attention to honor, faith, and duty. Whatever it is, he will do it for her. Adelaide asked if he will do it if she wanted to die. He was surprised, but he sadly accepted that he will do it. Adelaide told him that she wanted to leave the palace because she can't be there any longer. The emperor was on the way to the Empress Palace after hearing that the Marquis is there. He became angry seeing Marquis Herbert's face. He asked how dare he ignore the ban on entering the palace. The Marquis apologized for not following his orders because he wasn't informed in advance. He asked the reason why he can't enter the palace. The emperor became more angry of the Marquis' audacity in questioning his order and wanted to tear him apart. He threatened Lionel not to look at his empress because she is his woman. However, Lionel reminded him that Adelaide is no longer the empress, but the princess of Gotrov. The emperor grabbed him, telling that he is responsible for that situation, while Lionel was thinking that he can't believe the empress endured such humiliation because of this kind of man. The emperor warned him that he can't take even a single step into the empress palace, and started thinking that he will surely kill the marquis. Lionel thought that he will never leave Adelaide with this petty and vile man anymore, and will make him pay for what he did. At the Duke estate, Lionel informed his brother that he planned to take Princess Adelaide to his residence. The Duke became angry, asking if he gone mad. Lionel explained that they need the help of the princess and she would be better off living in his residence than in the emperor's palace. The Duke insisted that she's still considered part of the royal family, but Lionel answered that he doesn't care. Elizabeth told him that he will become the emperor's target, but Lionel answered that he is willing to become the emperor's target. He explained that it's better that the emperor's attention is focused on him, since when the rumors reach Duke D'Espinal, he will undoubtedly try to keep them under control. If at that moment, the emperor is focused on him, he won't be able to unite his forces with the Duke D'Espinal. The two then realized that Lionel is not acting recklessly. He calculated every move. Lionel passed a paper showing the plan to overthrow the emperor and told his brother to raise the issue after he bring the princess to his residence. The emperor received a news that the Gotrov princess is planning to leave the palace, causing him to become furious, asking where is the empress going. He burst into Adelaide's room and questioned her where is she going, but the princess remained silent. That led to him to repeat his question angrily. The emperor grabbed her shoulders and asked if she's going to Lionel Herbert, but Adelaide asked if it's important to him. Where will she go? The emperor told her that she is his empress, and where else will she be if not beside him? She reminded him that he already overthrown her and added that it was for the best since it would have happened sooner or later anyway. Adelaide told him that she refused to be near him. She renounced the title of empress. The emperor was shocked to her statement and threatened her that he will definitely kill Lionel Herbert, reminding her that he is the emperor, and he is only his subordinate, so it's possible he will send him to a place with harsh condition that he won't survive. This statement made Adelaide tremble, while the emperor continued telling her that if she stay near that bastard, he will definitely act as he said, and she will definitely end Lionel's life. Adelaide walked away without stopping and leave the emperor. The princess was greeted by Lionel telling her not to think anything and just take his hand. At the Duke D'Espinal estate, many nobles went to question him about the rumors that nothing was done against the towers. They also asked the reason why he immediately destroyed the Vieta Tower, but left the Kelvin Tower untouched. The Duke went to the emperor, but he witnessed him talking to himself how the empress left him. The Duke told him that to worry such things as they need to take actions. The emperor didn't care, but told him to as he please as he never need his permission. Duke D'Espinal thought that emperor had lost his mind. Lionel was thinking that the devil whispered in his heart and decided to take her. He is ready to give her everything he have and prepare a place where she can stay because in the end, she wants the same thing as him. The Duke was worried that the emperor become like that in times when they should be bracing the incoming waves, claiming that he is a pathetic fool. Diana asked him her brother the things that he gave her, while Lennox explained that it was a maternity belt that makes her look pregnant. She throws it away telling that it was not necessary, but Lennox asked how it's not necessary, telling that she should be grateful to him. If it becomes known that there's no child in her womb, she will be kicked out of the palace immediately. In about 5 months, he will bring a suitable baby boy, so at the very least, she should try to become useful. Diana asked what she is to him, while Lennox stopped her having such useless thoughts and just focus on her appearance. It's because she looked like that. that the emperor doesn't step foot in the ivory palace. Hearing this, Diana became emotional, thinking that, for Lennox, she was just a tool to maintain power. She asked herself, what is she to the emperor then? When she said she wanted to become the empress, he answered without hesitation that she can't. Diana remembered how the emperor responded when she told him they were having a baby. His eyes showed that it couldn't be true. She concluded that the emperor never wanted a child with her. He didn't want to see an heir from a woman of low birth, and asked herself if the emperor is using contraceptives. The emperor was looking at Adelaide's room, thinking that for a room that's supposedly abandoned, everything is perfectly in place, only she is gone. He looked her cabinet full of dresses and her drawer full of accessories, and realized that she took nothing with her. She didn't take a single pen he gave her. He's the one that dethroned her. But truly, it was she who abandoned that position, and him. If he had known this would happen, he would never have played the extreme card of dethronement. If only he had kept her tied to the position as empress, he wouldn't have been helplessly robbed of her like this. The emperor asked himself, how can he get her back? How can he make her return? He pleaded for her to come back to him. At the Marquis Herbert residence, a woman gave the list of those in the mage division loyal to Duke Desvenal and those who share our share, and told Lionel that they need to hurry. Lionel agreed, explaining that noble families and knight orders are ready to join, while thinking that they must create a safe haven for Princess Adelaide. Lionel went to Adelaide's room as soon as he heard the news that she has woken up. He asked what was she doing. Adelaide explained that she was organizing her knowledge on magic. He reminded her that she promised to create a better world, and explained that he is planning on holding those people accountable and correcting the wrongs of this world, all for the better world she dreams of. He continued and told her to finish what she's doing and he will wait. Adelaide noticed that the Marquis has fallen asleep and come close to him and started staring at him. She looked at his handsome features and fully acknowledged it. She is in love with him. Lionel woke up asking himself if it's another dream or a worn-out illusion, and started asking if she's watching him, explaining that he's always seemed to be looking at her. Even as he looked at her, he can help but want to know more, and tears started flowing on his cheeks. Adelaide wiped it while asking why and started moving closer to his face. She kissed his lips, making Lionel surprised, but accepted it and closed his eyes. Status, circumstances, honor, face. In that moment, the walls between her heart and him crumbled. Diana was walking the emperor's palace, thinking that she must see the emperor immediately, while the emperor asked what it is with his cold, eerie voice. Diana was thinking that despite his coldness, her foolish heart fluttered endlessly. She always took great care in styling her hair, tinted her cheeks pink, and she always smiled, but in her relationship with him, she was non-existent. Foolishly, only now she truly see this man's true face, and started asking the emperor if their child is a boy or a girl. The emperor ordered her to leave if she's there just to ask pointless questions, while Diana asked if he's not curious since he is the father after all. He shouted enough of her talking, but Diana insisted and told him to tell the officials to officially announce her pregnancy. She asked if he will make the child's successor if it's a boy. Diana asked if it's not possible because she's from low origin, hoping that the emperor answered that it's not true. However, the emperor answered that his successor will be the empress offspring. This statement made Diana's world crumbled, and understood that from the beginning, she never had any intention of making herself an empress, and no intention of making her child a successor. She walked away while crying and asked the emperor the reason for keeping her in his side, but the remained silent and didn't answer her. Diana finally understood that the emperor was simply using her as an outlet for his emotions. He threw her into hell without a second thought, yet he's the one abandoning her. The one she should truly hate is him. Adelaide's hand is shaking after hearing the news that Kay Knox was there to escort her back to Gotrov, But Lionel grabbed the comb, telling her that he will assist her. He told her that if she doesn't want the guest, he will send them away. But she refused because there's no need for that and told him it's Kane Knox. Lionel remembered the name as Adelaide's comrades in Gotrov, and they must be intending to escort the princess back to their homeland. Kane was thinking how they removed her from the position of empress, and remembered the day she left for a faraway foreign country where she knew no one. Without showing weakness to anyone, he looked at her with a bitter heart, but to be deposed and remain in the position of a princess. Kane introduced himself to Lionel, while the Marquis was thinking that they already grasped the situation in Egmont. Naturally, they will try to take her back to their homeland by any means necessary. One of Adelaide's subordinates asked Lionel for the reason for the Empress dethronement, but Adelaide showed herself to them, calling their name, the man, why she looks so gaunt and become thinner. Kane asked if she's alright because such sight actually hurts his heart, but Adelaide answered that she's fine. Lionel was looking at them and told her that they need time to speak and told her that he will leave. They asked what happened, telling that they refused to stand quietly for the emperor's frivolous reasons, but Adelaide told him that she already acknowledged the abdication. The knight told her that it's better this way because without her, everyone feels so down, and told her to go back to Gotrov. Adelaide remained silent while Kane asked if she's considering staying in Egmont and burst out reminding her that she would rather choose death than lose her honor, and asked if she really intend to die there. Adelaide called Kane's name to calm him down, while he insisted to go back to Gotrov, to their country, to the lush forest that she dearly loved. She closed her eyes, thinking that it is the homeland where there was not a single place she didn't love. However, she intended to set right the distorted things and create a better world. Adelaide answered that there is still unfinished business there. The current Egmont is rotten to its core, turning the place into hell. A revolution will soon break out and her help is needed. But Kane asked, what does that have to do to her? She's no longer the Empress of Egmont, but the Princess of Gotrov. He added that if the revolution failed, it will become a treason, asking if she's intended to participate such dangerous affair. The other knight asked her to reconsider her decision and handed a letter from the imperial family. The Gotrov emperor has instructed them to bring her back even if it means going to war, while Adelaide looked at the letter and told them to give her time to think. She opened the letter and found out that Lucio sent it to her, and tears started falling. Sister, what I truly desire is your safety and happiness. Had I known you would go there, I would have told you sooner. I apologize for being too late. Do not concern yourself with things like honor or reputation. I will come and escort you back. If what you truly desire is the throne of Gotrov, I will gladly pass this position to you. Lionel was worried what conversation did Adelaide have with the guests, and asked if there's a place for him in her heart as well. The revolution he seeked to achieve under the guise of a noble cause were never righteous, but for his selfish desire to keep her by his side. Adelaide told him to return since it's late, but Lionel asked if she's going to return to Gotrov, making her to be shocked. He told her to remain there instead, but she reminded him that she's no longer the Empress. Lionel told her that he will give her everything, take all of Herbert and use everything he possesses. He begged to use him as her faithful sword and trusted shield. Adelaide was confused and asked what is he saying. Lionel told her to marry him. That caused her surprised face. He added to take all of him. He wanted to be hers. Adelaide called his name, but their conversation was cut when Kane Knox arrived. The princess told Lionel that he should leave since the night is late. He is hesitant to leave the room at first, but eventually bid his goodbye and told her to rest well and passed Kane while they feel both competitive with each other. Adelaide told him if he has something to say, he has to say it quickly, while Kane asked again if she will return to Gotrov and reminded her about the day she came to Bamboo Forest to find him. Adelaide said to him that she will take responsibility for him and persuade him to come with her. Kane believed those words and followed her. He can't accept her staying in Egmont, where they dethroned her. He started crying, asking her to go back and be the master of Nox. This made Adelaide hugged and consoled him while saying that on the day she was dethroned, she intended to die. She was reflecting on why she didn't die that day and asked Cain to give her more time. The knight left Adelaide while thinking that the princess changed a lot in just half a year. He suspected that the cause of all these changes is the Marquis Herbert. It's because of him. He approached Lionel and warned him not to reveal his heart because the princess is too noble for someone like him to even dare to harbor feelings for. Lionel answered, returning those remarks to Cain as well. The knight burst in anger, asking if he saw the look on Adelaide's face when she runs through the fields of Gotrov. He told Lionel not to make him laugh, asking how did he expect to satisfy the princess with what little he have. He added that he will definitely return the princess to Gotrov. Adelaide was contemplating the reason why she didn't die, but an Epperson came to her mind at the brink of death. She clung desperately to the TIs of the past, but the one who made her forsake death was not them. Duke Desvenal was telling Lennox that the movements of the nobles are unusual. Elizabeth and Duke Valdir are gathering them. But it's fine because the tower is about to descend on the capital soon. A giant tower will descend. On the day the tower descends, the Grand Duchess, Duke Valdir, and Marquis Herbert will be eradicated. He ordered to gather the wizards to deal with them in advance. The Emperor received the news that the Princess of Gotrov is still staying at Marquis Herbert's residence. He stand telling that he must meet the Empress himself. He went to Marquis Herbert's residence while thinking he have to keep Adelaide no matter what. He is the Emperor who have came personally, so she must be shaken. He saw Lionel at the entrance looking coldly at him. The Emperor thinks that he is an insolent man and started asking the butler where is the Empress and lead him to her immediately. Lionel told him to let him escort him to the drawing room first, but the Emperor ordered him to take him to where the Empress is. However, Lionel reminded him that Princess Adelaide is no longer the Empress. The Emperor grabbed Lionel, telling how dare he do this and think that he will be fine, but Lionel reminded him that many eyes are watching and should maintain his dignity. This caused the Emperor to shout angrily to Lionel, but he stopped when he heard Adelaide asking if he came to see her. She asked if he has something to say to her. The Emperor called her Empress and told her that he have come for her. He noticed the Tuan escorting Adelaide, thinking that they were wearing Gotrov attire. He told Adelaide that he was wrong and regretted dethroning her like that. He pleaded to come back to his side. Adelaide told him that she accepted her dethronement. The reasons of her dethronement were valid, so he has nothing to regret. The Emperor told her not to say that and will do whatever she wanted, but Adelaide reminded him that she's no longer the Empress of Egmont. She was thinking that she's sick of this man's endless obsession. Right now, his words and actions are not those of the ruler of an empire, but of a child throwing a tantrum after losing a toy. Adelaide told him that will be their last meeting and do not seek her out again. The Emperor called her name, but the two knights blocked his way. He ordered them to step aside, but Cain Knox introduced himself as a servant of Gotrov and he was obligated to protect the princess. The Emperor went on the realization that it's really the end. The relationship is truly over. Everything is meaningless. If he can no longer hold on to her, what's the use of being an emperor? Lionel was looking at the Emperor thinking that he is no longer fit of being the Emperor. Elizabeth went to the Emperor Palace before carrying out the grand plan. She saw her brother like someone who is out of his mind calling Adelaide's name. She asked why is he like this. The Emperor noticed her and told her that he will give the position to her, just bring Adelaide to him. Elizabeth was shocked with what he said and reminded him that he is the one who dethroned the Empress with his own hands. The Emperor revealed that the Empress keeps pushing him away while Elizabeth was wondering that they really served such a man as their Emperor until now. She told him to listen to her. The Duke Desvenal doesn't care about the Empire, but only cares about his own gains and he is only using him. He is trying to build towers all over the empire, but the emperor stopped her and ordered her to bring Adelaide to him, and he will do whatever she say. Elizabeth insisted to stop saying such things and listen to her, but the emperor shouted, telling her that he doesn't care about any of that, he just needs her to bring Adelaide to him. Elizabeth asked what does Egmont mean to him, thinking that she followed the shadows of that boy's eyes, but his soul is already too damaged to be restored. She feels regretful and sorry for him, but she cannot just stand by and watch anymore. Adelaide showed the documents she organized that will help with what he's planning. She asked when did he plan to start the revolution. Lionel answered that tomorrow's Central Council meeting will be the turning point. They prepared a villa and she will move there today with those who came from Gotrov. Adelaide revealed that she will not go there because she will go to Gotrov today. This made Lionel shocked, knowing that she will be returning to her homeland. She told him that she's a very selfish person and couldn't give up anything. She told him that after following proper procedures in Gotrov, she will come back and have him. Lionel was surprised to hear those words, asking himself if he really heard that right. Adelaide just realized what she said and told him that she misspoke, but her face started blushing. Lionel told her to call his name while holding her face. She called his name, Lionel, and made him started to cry. He grabbed her neck and started kissing her. The person he thought he could never reach is now in his arms. Adelaide started to cry. That made him shocked and apologized for what he did, but the princess told him not to die and he must stay safe until she returned from Gotrov. Lionel hugged her while telling that he loved her many times. Adelaide can hear his heart pounding. Lionel told her that even if she can't come back from Gotrov is fine, because he will come to find her. No matter where or what to do, as long as she's there, just allow him to stay by her side. Adelaide explained the reason for going is to be by his side, while Lionel told to himself to survive, so he can stand by this person. Adelaide notified her knights that they were leaving for Gotrov. The two were glad after hearing what she said and immediately prepared. Cain wanted to know what's the princess' feelings and asked to marry him after returning to Gotrov. She doesn't need to fulfill marital obligations, she can just take the Nox name and live comfortably in Gotrov. He will protect her with all his strength. Adelaide answered a strong no and asked him to get up and don't cry again, but Cain asked why can't it be him. Adelaide can't wipe his tears. Sometimes clumsy comfort can be crueler than a blade. She revealed that she always see him as a brother to her. That's why she can't marry him. She told him to go back and prepare himself, while Cain asked if she already found the reason why she didn't die. Adelaide answered yes and told him that it's Adelaide Gotrov, to live a life worthy of that name, without regrets. The Grand Duchess visited Adelaide and thanked her for awakening her. As a princess of Egmont, she had done nothing. Adelaide told her that she is the one who opened her own eyes and hope that they will succeed for their grand plan. Elizabeth answered that will succeed for sure. The emperor was shouting that Adelaide is the empress of the empire while asking where do they think they're going. Other nobles told him after deposing her with his own hands. Duke d'Espinal ordered the servants to take the emperor inside immediately, but the emperor insists on returning the empress to him right now. She's leaving, and if he don't hurry, she will be gone forever. Many people saw the state of the emperor while Duke d'Espinal thought that he is a pathetic fool. Diana witnessed what happened to the emperor and wanted to return all the pain she have suffered to those who treated her life like garbage. Lady Kix is helping Adelaide to prepare for her journey back to Gotrov while she hoped that the tower doesn't descend until the revolution succeeds. While on her way, she saw a remarkable sight. A large crowd had gathered along the road leading out the capital. They had come to bid farewell to Adelaide, who was leaving Egmont. She saw Alexa Burnhill. It was fortunate to have her, because without her, it would have taken longer to uncover Duke d'Espinal's conspiracy. She hoped that she succeeds and survives. Duke Valdir was also there telling her to have a safe journey and thanked her for everything. And lastly, she saw Lionel, standing on one side of the vast plain. Though no words are exchanged, she understands his heart. Her steps are reluctant, but it's time to go. At the Grand Duchess residence, Elizabeth was telling the nobles that they need to succeed tomorrow when suddenly, Alexa felt that a tower will be descending. She told Elizabeth that she can feel the magic and announced that a tower is about to descend. Duke Desvenal was very happy, claiming that the heavens are helping him. As soon as Princess Adelaide is out of the picture, the tower begins to descend. He ordered Lennox to prepare the mages immediately, while Lennox is also glad, asking if they will take care of everything today. When the tower descends, have the mages wait while the beasts tear Lionel Herbert apart, then kill Theseus Valdir. Adelaide was surprised that she can feel magic and asked Kane if he also felt it, but her knight was worried about her. The day before their plan, a tower descends today. Adelaide was thinking she must go, but Kane told her she can't go because she must go to Gotrov. She shouldn't involved in another country's conflict anymore, but Adelaide was worried that everyone will be in danger when the tower descends. She doesn't want to hesitate and gave her insignia to Kane. She declared that she renounced all her titles and privileges as the Princess of Gotrov from this moment on, so convey her will to the Emperor. Kane thought that she's really cruel, while the other knights say that if she made this choice, it means she truly wished it. He told her that he will carry out her command without fail, while Adelaide thanked them and hurriedly went back. The Emperor and Duke Desvenal were standing while looking at the sky, thinking that a tower will descend soon. Duke Desvenal say that it's close to the palace, while telling the Emperor that the Grand Duchess is gathering forces and will soon attempt a coup. The tower is descending for his sakes, and today they will sweep away Valdir, Herbert and the Grand Duchess. The Emperor looked at the Duke, telling him that he wanted to witness Lionel's death, while the Duke revealed that he will be the first to die. One noble announced to the Grand Duchess that summon orders have been issued to all mages and knights. Alexa was worried that with the tower present, there's no one who can defeat Lennox Poitiers. Elizabeth was thinking that there's no chance in this state, while Duke Valdir calmed her down, telling that another opportunity will come. Elizabeth told him that the Emperor has ordered all heads of houses to gather. Surely it's to kill Lionel Herbert in front of everyone. A group of knights assembled, including Lionel. He felt a tremendous magic power and intense malice and jealousy. The Emperor ordered the guards to create the first defense line against the tower and started smiling, thinking to kill Marquis Herbert. Lionel thought that the Emperor was determined to use the knights as shields. Today, the goal is to survive this while watching at them dying. He remembered Adelaide's face telling him to survive and ordered the knights to move forward and destroy the tower. The Emperor and the Duke were only watching them when a noble asked when do they plan to send out the mages. The Duke told him not to worry because they will rush out at the right time, but Elizabeth told the Emperor that it's impossible for knights alone to block such large tower, and pleaded him to deploy the mages. The Emperor asked the reason for saying that is because all her factions to be dealt with are there. The tower is descending, while Lionel thought that it won't be easy since it's very large. Alexa was worried that they must destroy the tower as quickly as possible, but it's impossible to face Lennox in the situation where the tower is descending. She asked herself if they turn a blind eye and wait for the right moment as they did with Empress Adelaide. Lionel commanded the knights to draw their swords and hold their positions. They must stop the monsters pouring out. He was surprised after feeling a warm current from somewhere blocking the tower. He looked at the back and saw Adelaide and her comrades. Aside from Lionel's shocked, the Emperor was also surprised to see Adelaide's face coming back and rushing to the tower. He asked why is she coming back after saying she will return to Gotrov, and asked if it's because of that bastard. Did she came back to save Lionel Herbert? He clenched his fist, telling himself that Lionel will die here today by any means necessary, and only then will that insolent woman Adelaide shed tears of blood and realize. Adelaide looked above, telling herself that it is an overwhelmingly large tower, and as expected, they tried to block it with only knights, without mages. It's fortunate that they weren't too late. She pulled her sword and stabbed it on the ground, claiming that this tower cannot be destroyed by him alone. Help is absolutely necessary. She looked above and ordered the mages to come down immediately, asking how long are they going to just stand there watching. Alexa and the other mages were hesitant at first, while Duke Desvenal ordered them to hold their positions and no one moves. The Duke and Lennox were surprised to saw Alexa moving down the castle. This move by Alexa made the other mages to follow, he telling that they won't just stand by and watch anymore. Lennox shouted, asking what are they doing? Moving without the Emperor's order is treason. At that moment, the same question arose in the minds of everyone present. How could their actions against the tower be considered treason? Adelaide ordered them that half of the keepers should prevent the tower from landing on the ground and other half should catch the falling strikers. She told them to watch and follow what she will do, ride the ascending current and destroy the core of the tower. The core of the upper tower is so tough it won't break with a single hit. Strikers should repeat the attack to destroy the core. The mages were hesitant, how can they do that? But Alexa ordered the keepers to hurry and catch the strikers. They followed Alexa at Catch Adelaide while the other mages was determined to give it a try and started attacking the tower with all their might. Adelaide saw that the core is starting to crack and started her final strike to break the core. Eventually the tower broke and destroyed. Duke Desvenal and Lennox were worried that the tower was destroyed, while the mages who followed Alexa, together with the knights, were all happy with their teamwork. Lionel catch Adelaide as she fall graciously from above.